everybody. I'm Joe.
I'm Derrick.
And I'm Matt.
And we are the hosts of Beats,
Balls, and Bourbon.
We are the official drumline of Louisville City supporters. Here for you to serve you in all kinds of ways, not just musically, but in entertainment as well. I guess I don't know if that's a good way to put it. We're here to entertain you.
We're here to be very loud at soccer games.
That's right, and hopefully they're having a good time. We had a good time watching the game last week. Finally, after a win,
It was
right?
nice. It was
nice.
Wins are better than losses or draws. Derrick, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I feel good.
That's good, man. You look good. You look svelte.
Yeah.
I know I can't help it, Derrick.
Everything's nice and soft.
Do you see? Look, there's something about him when you say hello to him. He's got this. Hello, I'm Derrick. Matthew, how are you?
Been pretty sick this week. I finally am.
Awesome. Let me move on.
I've been wretched. I just felt like I was gonna die. It's just been horrible. But hey, we won.
We did win, so
and I'm finally starting to feel better. So
good. Good
thank
to hear
God.
that.
Yeah.
And we'd like to thank all of you that are joining us now. And of course, we'll have some great guests for you in a little bit. Howie Lindsay has agreed to come on. He'll be here. He's already here. And they have Glenn Grumm. Hello, sir. He's here.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mike Bromilow is going to be here later. But we want to say thank you to our guest last week. We had 2 weeks ago. Brad Estes was here, and he gave us a lot of great information about himself. Yep. I was saying, sorry. Every time I say Brad, we toast. Okay.
Brad Estes.
Brad Estes. There we go.
Brad Estes.
He was great. Shauna Farmer, who's actually going to join us in a little bit. We're going to be pushing this Angel Share deal every show. And we have a regular segment now for about 5 minutes where she's going to join us. We also have Matt Dalton, who is the capos through here because they've earned it, Derrick. I mean, they've worked so hard and they deserve to, to have a little bit of airtime and get to know them. Yes,
For sure.
I agree.
They need to continue doing what they do. Because if not, then you and I and Matt are going to have to get up there and do it, and it's going to be really awkward.
Yeah, that'll be a little weird. Oh, I forgot my scarf. I apologize. Yeah. But anyway.
Joe is wearing the lovely Groove Machine scarf.
That's right. But before we begin, we promised that we'd tell you who's going to be here next week. Usually we take a week off, but the way the scheduling worked out, we had to do a show next week because our premier guest. But first, a couple of other guys are going to be on here. Jorge Pazmilo, who is one of our capos and has been for – I think he's been here since the first year. I think.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But Jorge, he's a wonderful guy. And we're talking about, his, the passion that he brings to the game is just unbelievable. And I'm really looking forward to talking to him a little bit about that. And then we have not had one of the Heretics on yet. And the Heretics are a great bunch of guys. So we have James Pizzolatto, who's known as the King, is going to be, he's going to be here as well. But our big guest next week, next week, information, you go to the person on top. You go to the capo de capo. You go to the top of the heap. So John Neese is going to be here. I guess he's the chief financial officer. What is it? What's his name? His chief office chairman. He's the chairman.
Chairman of the
He's
the cream of the crop.
He is.
And you know what they say about the cream of the crop?
It rises to the top.
That's right.
Thank you.
That's amazing. Always
rises to the top. So Chairman John Neese. That feels very uncomfortable saying it that way. But John Neese is going to be here, and he's going to. I'm really looking forward to that. It's good to have. Good to have him on, and then we're going to let you know about a couple other guests that we have scheduled later on. But now, a little bit disappointed, I have to tell you. Normally, we start this off with a poem, right, about the game. But called Uncle Luigi back on Saturday, and he had been locked up. As everybody, if you're following the show, Uncle Luigi has been locked up. Well, found out that he's not in prison anymore. But
he got released.
It's not actually no, he didn't get released. So we're trying to look for him. And what do you think?
You're betting a known fugitive?
I guess we are.
I'm not objecting to that. I just want to know.
So I'm wondering if we can. I don't know how we can contact him. I've been a little worried about him, and I do have his number.
PGP encryption and onion routing and all that.
Did he sneak? Did he sneak something into the?
I don't know. He's. Is that? Oh, we muted. Oh, here we go. So we're trying to reach out to Uncle Luigi and see what's going on here.
Hello. Hey, ho.
It's Uncle Luigi.
Is this that
Luigi?
Hey,
is that you?
Is this that groovy machine? Hey,
Uncle Luigi, what are you doing?
How are you doing? I'm calling to speak to my nephew. Hold on. Shut up. Hello.
Uncle Luigi,
Hello.
it's Joey.
Joey, my boy. I was calling to speak to you. My beautiful nephew.
Ah,
You know, everybody. He's my nephew on my father's side. He's once removed. Once removed. I say he was once removed to Utah because he flipped.
So-
laugh, but I digress.
I mean,
Call me Uncle
Unc,
Luigi.
I mean, what, you know, not for nothing, but what happened? I tried calling you Saturday. You're not supposed to be wherever you are right now. You're not supposed to be there.
Well, it's interesting. You see, there are many who are under the misguided notion that I've been remanded to the custody of our federal authorities.
Yeah, I was worried about that.
I don't know who told you that, but they are gravely mistaken. I'm currently retired and living in a rather modest Italian district outside Havana, and
Oh,
we call it this. We call it the Spaghetto. Anyway.
wait a second. That doesn't. You're going to tell me that You're going to tell me that there's a part of Havana called the Spaghetto. Is that? Are you serious? Come on. You're
Would I
talking to
make
your
this
nephew.
up?
I don't
I would
know.
not make this up.
Okay,
I'll
so
tell you.
go ahead.
So you're I'm sitting here with my paisan Nunzio. You know, Nunzio, he ain't too bright.
No, huh?
He keeps trying to enter his ATM password in the microwave. It's pretty stupid.
But then what?
He tripped over a cordless phone. He tripped over a cordless phone. Oh,
Jeez.
you know,
Go
it
ahead.
takes him an hour and a half to watch 60 Minutes. But remember this, Joe.
Yeah, you want that?
Remember,
Go ahead.
un pollo con gomiti all'indietro non puoi ancora deporre uova quadrate.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is?
A chicken with backwards elbows still cannot lay square eggs. Come on, Joe. You haven't been away from Jersey that long.
I know. I don't get to see as much as I don't get to see the family. You know, I had to separate myself from it. You know what I mean, right?
Well, there was some talk.
Uh-huh.
I heard things.
What did you
But
hear?
you know, Giuseppe, you know, when you get to my age, you sit here and you reflect. You reflect on your career.
Uh-huh.
And I remember my old grandfather. He introduced me to this thing of ours. You picture it.
Uh-huh.
An old Italian Don is dying, and he called me, his grandson, to his bed, and he says, "Grandson, I want you to listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to take a 45 pistol, so you'll always remember me."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "But Grandpa, I really don't like guns. How about you leave me a Rolex watch instead?"
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "Are you listening to me? Someday you're going to be running the business.
Uh-huh.
You're going to have a beautiful wife,
Right.
a lot of money, a big home, and maybe a couple of bambino.
Mm-hmm.
Someday you're going to come home
Mm-hmm.
and maybe find your wife in bed with another man.
Uh-oh.
What are you going to do then?
Mm-hmm.
Point at your watch and say, 'Hey, time is up.'"
Jesus. Well, you know, I mean, I don't want to cut this short, but I heard that. I mean, you didn't write the poem, but apparently, you had a friend of yours down there in Havana in the Spaghetto. you had him send us. Did you have him send us a song? Is that true?
Yeah, I met a young gentleman here, and luck as would have it, I wrote a song about a LouCity. What are the chances, I ask you? Sitting in a communist country, a swarthy troubadour with a forethought, put a pen to paper and compose a tune about a soccer team over 1,000 miles away?
Oh my God, that's beautiful. Well, listen, Unc. Go ahead, Unc. I hate to cut you short here, but you know, wherever you are. I mean, be it Havana or you're saying Havana, but you never know.
It's a Spaghetto.
It's a Spaghetto.
Have a wonderful time, everybody.
I want you to be safe, okay?
Always safe, my bambino. Bye, Joe.
Be safe, Unc. All right, Uncle Luigi. We gotta cut him short, I think. Well, he's
the gift that keeps on giving.
He is the gift. Uncle Luigi is the gift that keeps on giving. And he did send us a song here from his friend. He didn't say what his friend's name was. We'll just call him Juan, I guess. I don't know. But I guess, I don't know. What would you call a guy from Havana that writes music?
I don't know anybody from Havana.
I don't know anybody from Havana. Yeah, okay, so anyway. But anyway, he did send us this song. It's a recap of our game last week.
As long as it's not Despacito.
That's a lot of syllables. Apparently, the name of this song is, I'm not understanding this. I think it says Win Number 9. Does that sound right? I mean,
okay.
Oh, there's clapping.
Okay.
I like this. Win number 9.
All right.
Okay. Ooh, it's got a nice beat to it. I like this. All right, here we go. 5, 6, 7, 8. That's all the wins we had, and that ain't too great. Sure, we love the boys. Yeah, we really love them lots. But no matter what we try, we keep missing all the shots. So the game started up. What do we see? It was a different formation that it normally be. We had Patrick and Abdu and Antoine the speeder. But no matter what we did, we didn't look any sweeter. So the team really struggled. Looked pretty hard. And then Paco got himself his first yellow card. So we played another half. We didn't score, but there was one thing we saw for sure. A little change of tactics in different spots. A little bit of Hubbard stopping shots. A little bit of Enzo flopping around like a pregnant goldfish shot in the crowd. The pitch looked like a minefield with all the scars. It had more craters than the surface of Mars. A little win and ugly is what we need to get ourselves a decent playoff seed. Yeah. I don't know what his name is, but he writes pretty good music.
He does.
He's got. I don't know. We should hire him.
I mean, why not?
And apparently there's another verse I got to fill up with space. So say something. Say something, please.
Cheese sandwiches.
Okay, cheese sandwiches. Here we go. Second verse. Second half barely started and the ref blew a call. And Paco got tossed, not fair at all. But Alex Martinez said something wasn't right. The ref gave him a look. Done for the night. Then Luke cleaned up some junk in front of the net, and we were winners once again. A little bit of different spots, a little bit of Hubbard stopping shots, a little bit of Enzo flopping around like a pregnant goldfish on the ground. A little bit of Oscar getting cramps. Finally, some good luck for the champs. A little win and ugly is what we need to get ourselves a decent playoff seed. Yeah. It's been an interesting year.
Yeah. So is Luigi, does he have like an alter ego, like Luigi Vega?
Yeah, it's Luigi Vega. Sometimes he's exciting, and sometimes he's not so exciting. Sometimes he's really, really exciting. And there we go. And sometimes it sounds like this. I have no idea what that sound is. A little change of tactics in different spots. A little bit of Hubbard stopping shots. A little bit of Enzo shopping around like a pregnant goldfish on the ground. A little bit of Oscar getting cramps. Finally, some good luck for the champs. A little win and ugly is what we need to get ourselves a decent playoff seed. Check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're finally on top of the final score. Then we learned this week something great for sure. We're going to be at Linton Family Stadium forevermore. That's not bad.
That's pretty good.
I think Juan's a keeper. And Uncle Luigi, really appreciate him helping us out. Actually, Uncle Luigi sounds a lot like my buddy Billy Wilson. So
amazing.
It's pretty amazing how that works out.
Yeah.
But anyway, there it is. Win number 9. All right. Not bad, everybody.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. It was fun.
Yeah, and get well wishes to Oscar after all the burns he received.
He had a bit of a rough time, and we mentioned Dr. Lynn in that song.
Mm-hmm.
Some special, wonderful news. Our next, not next week. Obviously, we're doing a show next week, and then our show after that will be on August 29th. And Dr. Lynn is going to be here. He's going to be one of our guests. So that's pretty awesome. We get to talk to the person who has meant quite a lot to Louisville soccer. Now, you're a local guy. I don't know if have you ever had anything going on as far as Dr. Lynn or with local soccer? I mean, do you know anything, Derrick?
Lynn stepped into the grand scheme of things with Lynn Stadium. I guess that's the first time that he really wanted to put his name out there.
Mark and Cindy Lynn Stadium.
Exactly. And they I know that they've been active in the soccer community for quite a while. I don't personally know a whole lot about their family, but I mean, it's awesome that they're stepping in for everything that we've got here in town. So it's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing about him. He seems like a very happy guy. He seems like a very gregarious sort of dude. So, so why don't we get on with? I'm sorry.
So we got now 2 stadiums. We've got Mark and Cindy Lynn and Lynn Family, or MC Lynn and the Fam. I think I had that around in the 90s.
I like that.
We got to come up with a nickname for both of those, I think.
Right. And I guess I have nobody. I don't know anything about the naming. any of that stuff entails. It's just that he doesn't have to do that. I mean,
that's awesome.
It's great that he did it. It's great that we kept it in the family. It's not corporate, anything like that. So I hope you enjoyed the song. Thank you again, Uncle Luigi. And we're going to move on. Howie Lindsay is a local personality. Is that fair to say that you are a local personality? But Howie is now also an employee of the team, and we would like to bring him on. I've never gotten to talk to him or anything like that. And we think it's I don't know if you've been on any of the other podcasts or anything. I know your voice is probably rather recognizable.
Sure.
And but thank you.
Yeah,
really
definitely.
appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having me in. I love it.
And first, I didn't grow up in this area, but apparently, you've been doing a lot of radio and TV for a bunch. But would love to know a little bit about yourself before you got involved in the business.
Sure.
Where you're from and stuff like that.
Yeah, from Bowling Green, down south, about an hour and a half south. We're famous for Corvettes and underwear. Those are the two things. We have a parade every year where people wear underwear in Corvettes and go through the town.
Come on,
it's a beautiful thing. And it's Fruit of the Loom, right? The huge Fruit of the Loom plant. And so awesome. My lasting memories of childhood is watching parades go by with just Corvette after Corvette after Corvette, and these Fruit of the Loom people, like the grapes and the big apple and the one guy who's a pear, that would be me, little pear shape. And they all go through the parade in these Corvettes. I didn't realize until I left Bowling Green, coming up here to U of L for college, that it's not normal for people not to have a Corvette nerd.
It's not normal to drive around with it. It's not normal to drive around in your underwear.
That's correct. That's great.
I do it all the time.
What? Just through the drive-through. You can't go inside the restaurant in your underwear. You got to go through the drive-through in your underwear. So I came up to Louisville for school. Thought I was going to be a political speechwriter. And went to Frankfurt and realized that's
Thank you. That didn't work out.
No, it's a terrible
glad
place.
You're here. Yeah,
terrible place. No one should ever go there.
Right.
And so I realized that, hey, sports is fun. Yeah. Let me run some sports websites for a while.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And how long ago was that? Was it say around?
Right around 2000.
Okay.
Yeah, right around 2000. I started with a internet company called High Speed Access way back when. If you got anybody, old HSA people, old charter employees?
I was in the first charter class.
Hey, there you go. There you go.
Small world.
It is remarkable how many people in the tech industry here locally either worked there for a little while or worked there for a long while, or it's kind of a fraternity there, and sorority. But it's cool. We all started in the tech industry, running websites and things, and so I started on the U of L beat. Started running U of L websites and was there for 15 years.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then I guess eventually you transfer into doing more, announcing more show stuff. And how'd that come about?
I mean, essentially, anytime anybody said, "Can you try this? Can you do this? We need to fill in," I said yes.
Guinea pig. Good.
Every time. Yeah. They're like, "We need somebody to fill in on this TV show." I was like, "Yeah, I'll do that." And we need somebody to figure out how to make this magazine. I was like, "Yeah, I'll do that. I'll figure that out." And so I just kept saying yes to the point where they were like, "This guy's always around. I guess we should give him a job."
Right.
And so they did. I was a morning host on 790, the big sports station in town, and then I did that for about 2.5 years, and then Brad Estes, I'm sorry, I don't have my drink.
Oh, Brad Estes,
President Brad Estes.
He knows the show.
He and I had a very good lunch, and it was kind of like, wow.
Having lunch with Brad is
see a vision.
He's such a good dude.
Oh,
I keep saying that, like I don't want to carry his water for him. He doesn't need me to, but he is generally a decent human being.
Absolutely. And he conveys a vision extremely well.
Yeah.
And when he conveyed the vision of this is what we're building, this is where we're going, do you want to be a part of it? I was like, yeah, that sounds awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because this is a legacy thing. It's not just a job.
Exactly.
It's not just this is something that will be part of our community for the next 40 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess to backtrack a little bit, you say you're on the radio show, 2.5 years. Give me the weirdest thing that happened when you were announcing. You're doing a show? And then what's like the oddest thing that happened while you were announcing?
We've had some weird ones. We've had anytime you're on remotes, those are always because you never know what's going to happen. We've had people moon the show while the show's going on. We had what I thought was a robbery going down at one of the locations.
Come on, tell us about that.
It was just I thought that a guy comes in a trench coat. I'm immediately thinking, it's kind of warm for that.
Thankfully, you thought it was just a robbery. It wasn't anything else.
No doubt.
A dude in a trench coat.
Well, and I thought,
that's Derrick, you don't know anything about that stuff, do you?
No.
Okay, good.
Absolutely not.
Well, and there was like a commotion up at the counter, and I thought there was an issue at this liquor store where we were doing the show, and luckily they had a security guard right there, and the security guard comes in, he's like, "Hey, you gotta leave. So I don't think it was as much of a robbery as the guy may not have been in his right state of mind. And
Right. So
disrupt some stuff.
Well, that's got to be uncomfortable. See, we were asking about weird because, well, it's us. So we cornered the market on weird, I think.
The weirdest stuff that I've been through, of course, is covering U of L all the way through all those scandals. And so Katina Powell and all the NCAA stuff and all the coaches changes and the administration changes. And so the last 3 years have been nothing but drama. Yeah. It was crazy.
That's pretty amazing for me growing up in New Jersey. And I grew up like maybe just literally a couple miles from New York City. We have all pro sports out there. College thing, like maybe once every 20 years, Seton Hall would pop up or St. John's, and just college football was next to nothing. I guess the connection that the fans in Louisville have to these teams is really, really intense.
Oh, it's
right?
incredible.
I mean,
yeah, it's incredible. U of L and UK, there's such an intensity there, and frankly, that's one of the reasons we're purple. Is because the red and the blue together, and they mixed into the purple. And that's part of what I hope to convey coming to the team was, doesn't matter if you're red or blue, this is a pro sports thing. This is a whole different thing. You don't have to be a UK fan. You don't have to be a U of L fan. Those ties are crazy intense. And covering the rivalry for so many years, I mean, I've had some weirdness there I was clearly a U of L guy. I was clearly on that camp, and I had some threats and some,
seriously?
Oh, yeah. Well, and I think
what the hell are people thinking? I'm serious.
This is a rivalry that had two old men on dialysis getting a fight.
Beating on each other.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No. When did that happen?
It was about 4 years ago. The cops got called, and the two old men who were at a dialysis clinic, both of them got arrested.
Come on.
Oh, yeah.
You're crazy.
It really is crazy. And what was funny is they would send these threats because, they knew my online persona. And then I think they'd see me or maybe see me out somewhere and probably think better of it because I'm a giant human being.
Right.
They don't know I can't fight, but they just see how big I am. They're like, I don't want no part of that dude.
Yeah. All right. So Brad, so you talk to Brad and you become an employee of the team. Do you have an official, what's your official position?
I am director of PR.
Director of PR. Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So you have to have a bit of an outgoing personality to do something like that.
That's right.
And I guess what was your first impression as an employee of the team? You get to meet I guess you're meeting all your fellow employees. You're meeting the players. Let's stick to them first. The people you're working with directly. What was your first impression?
They are focused on professionalism. That was the first thing that they said right when I walked in was, we are pros. We want to be treated like pros. We want to act like pros. Everything down to what they're wearing coming to the games, to how they're presented in interviews, to how they're portrayed on Instagram, everything. They want to be as professional as possible. And when they come to me and say early on, hey, that's not good enough. We want more professionalism. We want to see this more professional. I love that. That's a great challenge, and it's a good way to be. So, and I think they hold themselves to that kind of standard as well. So it's not just them coming at the front office or them coming at me, or it's when a guy walks in and his shoes aren't up to snuff, they give him grief about it.
And they emulate that, Derrick, don't you think? I mean, I've always gotten the impression going on 5 years now, they always emulate themselves as professionals, no matter when we encounter them. What do you think?
That's every single time, for sure.
So
yeah,
and in practice, they challenge the heck out of each other. I mean, they go after each other, and that's the one thing that Hack has said all season long, no matter win, lose, or draw, whatever, is they go after each other every time in practice. And several times before games, he said, "Listen, I want you all to go after this other team like you go after each other in practice." And I've heard him say that 8-9 times this year.
Wow.
Because what he's doing is challenging them to say, listen, you challenge each other every day. You go after each other to the point where, I mean, they're screaming at each other in practices. Go after the other team that same way.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So now you've met all of them, but eventually you become exposed to the fan base.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me what that's like. And then sincerely compare that, compare what you experience at Louisville City games to what you may experience at a U of L basketball game.
Yeah, I think that the overall volume of U of L is so much bigger, just because
absolutely.
There's so many people.
They are so entwined in society.
Yes, and so entwined in the society. But what's interesting is it's like your group is much smaller, but you make a really big noise, which is really, really cool. And what's funny is that it starts probably here with the groove machine is how loud that noise is, and it's like something where it was recorded at a smaller volume and then you crank it up real loud. And so it's interesting that there's a natural volume of all these U of L fans just because there's so many of them, but the volume of LouCity is growing. And the other thing is it's infectious. My kids and I started coming to games about 2 years ago.
Okay.
I've got 7, 4, 3, and 1.
Okay.
The older two, 7 and 4, are both boys, and so we bring them to the games, and they roll around out there and run around the pitch, and they love
that. Yeah.
They love the drums, they love the smoke, and so it's infectious for them. And the more that we were around it, the more I was like, hey, this is cool. I like coming to it.
And I tell you, from the first year, we always said, I would always tell everybody, having had a lot of experience in marching band, drum corps, stuff like that. When you want to get people to come to something, you connect to the kids.
Yep.
Because the kids are like, I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go. And
my
the
son
parents are
every
like,
time.
right.
Every time there's a home game, my kid is
right.
He's
So so we're not going to apologize for getting your kids hooked.
No, and that's a good thing. What's interesting as well is that there's a fine line between getting the kids hooked and being too, I don't know any other word for it, family friendly. Where it's like
that's right.
You know,
you brought up. Thank you.
And we don't want to go that far because then it loses the cool factor.
That's an
right?
excellent point.
And so there's a fine line, and LouCity so far has been skating right down that line.
Okay.
I love it.
And I'm going to go. That's a great thing that you just brought up. You've been to U of. I've been to U of L football games. I had season tickets. U of L basketball games. That audience can get pretty wound up, and it's not just R-rated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And as you're an announcer and you're a father, right? How do you balance that? I mean, you're going to bring your kids to a game, and be it a U of L game or a soccer game, you're going to run into that no matter what. So how do you balance that?
I think that the thing is where you sit. I mean, really,
good point.
We will view kind of the Cooper section from afar.
Right.
I mean, we don't get in front of it, and we don't get all the way down in the pit. We will view it from afar when I've got the kids. And it fights my natural tendency because when I go to concerts, when I go to parties and things, I want to be right up front. I want to be right in the middle of it. I want to be right there. And so I think they do too because they're my kids, but you just got to exercise judgment there because they don't need to hear some of those things.
As a musician, I have to know now. You're a music fan.
Oh yeah.
Who's your favorite band? This could be the end of the interview, Rabbi.
Yeah. It's tough. I've got so many favorite bands. I grew up on country bluegrass.
Sure.
So that was my
I
childhood.
love bluegrass music. And I'm from New Jersey, and I love bluegrass music.
It's so technically challenging that it's absolutely
they
incredible.
Are players,
man. Ricky Skaggs and that whole crew, and that's my heritage. And so I grew up on like Garth Brooks and that kind of '90s country was near and dear to my heart. And so I've kind of revisited it recently, and I've been listening over and over and over again to the Mavericks. And Raul and it's over and over and over again, and my kids are starting to like it as well. But you can't go wrong with Beatles. I mean,
right.
We listen to so much Beatles.
Glenn, you're a bit of a Beatles fan, aren't you?
Oh yeah. We listen to so much Beatles in our house because what I'm doing now, I think, is laying the foundation for my 7-4-3 to understand. All right, this is the basis of music, right? So we went about a month of Elvis. It was Elvis greatest hits over and over and over again.
Good place to start.
And then we did the Beatles, and then we did Stevie Wonder, and then we did Eagles for about 2 straight weeks, and so I'm trying to get them. I'm trying to get to the point where when they're 14, they're like, I've heard that song before. Where did I hear it before? Oh, Daddy played it.
It's going to be a bit of a corny segue, but you mentioned the Eagles.
Yes.
And I've never heard 4 or 5 people sing in harmony with that kind of sound in my life.
Oh, it's incredible.
Their natural ability to harmonize is sick. It's utterly sick. I mean, it's mesmerizing. Yeah. So now, harmonizing with your fellow employees.
Ooh, see what I did? I like that segue. In the radio biz, that's a segue.
That's a segue. So working with all these folks, you've got a bunch of interns.
Yeah.
You got people that I'm assuming you have some contact with ownership.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
How's that all working out?
It's good. It's good. And the other thing that struck me right after talking to the players and seeing their professionalism and their demand for professionalism, love that, is walking back to into the front office and realizing there aren't very many people here.
Right. That's the illusion, right?
Yeah, for the volume that they create out of that front office and the job that Scott Stewart did prior to me and the ability for them to put out so many press releases and so much on the website. And then I walk in, I'm like, wow, there are like 8 people here. This is incredible. And they're doing all these sales and making all these deals, and it's really incredible the volume that they put out.
And it's hard to not. You want to look at it from both sides. I think you want to look at it from a supporter side where you want all the stuff now.
Yeah.
And then, but you have to when you figure in the fact that that's the way it is, and that's sort of like as Division II and lower level soccer matures in this country, because what you have now, most teams 5 years ago would have begged for.
Oh yeah.
At Division II. I mean, that's how much in lower levels, right, Derrick? I mean, you know, tell me a little bit about. Or come on, go back a couple years ago, the Legends or something like that. What was it like dealing with that as an exec? Did you have 8 people working for you?
No, I did everything by myself. It was not fun. I mean, you know, indoor soccer is obviously a little different.
Right.
I mean, just getting like logistics, like dealing with road teams and stuff. It's not fun. You never know what you're going to encounter when the teams show up. You have to your team has to have a certain kind of morale when the game starts, and you have to know where to provide that when it's about to happen. You have to. People are having, you know, like family problems, some of the players, and you have to reel that in. And of course, there's lots of egos and that kind of thing. So you really have to. It's like having a big band of kids that you have to take care of. Right. Not that, you know, professional soccer players are kids, but it's kind of like having a big family.
They are young. A lot of them are young. I mean, you know, you're talking about you know, guys that are in their early 20s or younger.
Yeah.
And you know, I know that they're adults, you know, technically, but when you're 19 years old, 20 years old, you haven't lived yet. You just haven't. You know.
Don't have those years on you. Yeah. Right. And the kid I introduced today to the media, Akil Watts, is 19. His birth date is 2000. Right. And as I'm typing it in, I'm like, oh, this is hurting me a lot.
He didn't get to experience Y2K.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he was born after it. Right. All the computers worked for all of his life.
Jeez. Okay, so now we're looking at the future. It's such a loaded question. Obviously, you've been to the stadium. I mean, were you involved with U of L when they were building the football stadium?
Yeah.
Okay, so compare the two. Compare the experience of watching the new football stadium go up as opposed to Lynn Family Stadium.
Yeah, it's interesting, all the different parallels, because I remember old Cardinal Stadium, as we call it now, and they were building new Cardinal Stadium, right? And
so that was a baseball field too.
It was. Absolutely. They played football on a baseball field. It absolutely was. And that's a perfect segue, because it was not built for football. Right. They made it work for football, and they built a program with football, but it was not made for it. And so then they moved to a football-specific venue, and it changed everything. Right? Everything. And not just the football-specific, but also the fact that they had luxury suites, that they had premium seats, that they could sell things at a higher number, that could provide for all the fans that maybe can't afford that higher number. So they can have a bigger stadium with nicer amenities, because these guys are paying $1 million a year for that suite. You know, that kind of thing helps the whole thing. And so you have like the bigger screens and the ribbon boards and things. And so everything changed with that stadium. And but they kept the same kind of fervor on the field and among the fan base. And that's the goal here, is that economically, everything's going to change with the new stadium.
Yes, absolutely.
Everything's going to change. The club's going to change, but the goal is to keep that same fervor, that same roots that built it at Slugger, and try to avoid the this is the way it's supposed to be, and this isn't nice enough thing for at least 3 or 4 years.
Right.
I remember I was among the first class to go into Cardinal Stadium. It was during my college years, and it was like year 2 or whatever. And they're like, "Oh, the sightlines here are so bad." I was like,
"Shut up!
Exactly. What's wrong with you?" Exactly. We said bleachers on an old baseball stadium.
Golly, people complain, and wait, you also touched on something that's really cool to mention too. The entire the program itself, the improvement in Louisville's program when they moved into the football stadium. We were just talking about this before we started. Louisville City is going to be, I think, and I think a lot of us think, the premier place to play in the United States and Canada if you're not playing in Division I.
Absolutely.
So
it will draw free agents.
It'll draw free agents. Yep. It'll draw, like we were talking with Brad last week, it'll draw people that want to play here in friendlies as well, that necessarily, you know, they want to play on a nice field. They want to play in a venue in an unclaimed territory, using sort of a wrestling term.
Sure.
This territory, and I keep pushing this. You're talking about affiliations and stuff like that, and we can do better than if we choose to affiliate someday with an MLS team. You know, what's your experience with European soccer? Anything?
Nothing.
Okay.
I'm a complete free agent, and it bothers the heck out of everyone in the front office.
Good.
They really get frustrated.
There's free lunches out of that. There's free lunches.
I think so.
Get the bread, because I think Brad likes Leicester City.
He does.
You know?
And Hack's an Everton guy.
Yeah, I'm an Everton guy as well. And if you go to Brad and say, sell me. Come on, take me to lunch and sell me on this.
I can be bought, right? All it takes is a good cheeseburger or bacon.
Right.
I can be bought. But Liverpool fans, we've got all kinds of different fans. The Manchester fans in there certainly. Arsenal, we've got several Arsenal fans in the front office, and I just haven't been sold yet.
Okay.
I like purple,
yeah,
so I like the image. I like the logo of the Foxes. So I don't know.
Okay.
I still haven't picked a team yet.
I'm right there with you, Howie.
Yeah,
I have not picked an EPL
free
team.
agency. I like it.
Right. And I guess looking forward to your personal involvement in the future. What you talk about public relations? What new things? I'm not asking you to tell you, whatever. I have no interest in asking about plans that we don't need to know about.
Sorry.
But what would you like to see? What do you think we can do more? What do you see we can ramp up as new ways to reach out to the community?
I think there are a couple different things. I think the job that Mario and the team is doing with Mario at reaching out into the community, I think that needs to be spotlighted.
It sounds like he's been a huge asset.
Oh, he's incredible. He's great to work with too. He's one of those guys that's always smiling, always
we'll
happy.
have to get him on here.
Oh, he's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. We need to get him on Twitter. But honestly, he's like a beautiful bird.
Right.
And you don't want the beautiful bird to get hurt. Right. And my fear is that if you get on Twitter and he sees what a dark, awful place it is,
it is terrible.
That my beautiful baby bird Mario will realize this is an awful place to live, and I don't want that for him. So actually, I'm okay that he's Twitterless Mario.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
that's the big part is highlighting some of the cool things that they're doing now. The other thing is giving fans as much access as I think you all need and deserve.
Right.
And this fan base is getting more and more rabid, and you want to feed that as much as possible. And so we had the coaches show on the radio.
Okay.
I don't think that was the right venue, even though that I was on it and I like doing it, and I had fun doing it. I don't think that's the right venue. I think it's actually something more like this, where it's a video cast.
Exactly.
Where we can do a Facebook Live kind of thing, where we can do a YouTube Live kind of thing. That's what I want to see.
There's something about doing it this way.
Yeah.
When you introduce and talk to people, there's something really fun about this. And we will always say thank you, Derrick, because this is Derrick's place. I mean, he's offering his place up. But there's something about doing it in a venue like this that's friendly. I don't know what the word is. It's not cold.
Yeah.
And I've always wondered what it would like to hear, like the radio show that you guys. Well, before you can get to that, to plug the radio deal, 790.
Sure, yeah. We do Soccer City Radio every Saturday morning. It's Lance and Kevin; those two fight, and I get in their team fight. It's so much fun because you've got Kevin and all of his just technical knowledge and smarminess, and
Kevin's got that young 21st century
knows everything, which is fantastic.
It's fantastic. He's a great kid.
And the trouble is that he actually does know so much.
Absolutely.
And then you got big, Lance and they'll get going.
They don't call him the Bear for nothing.
Oh, he's fantastic. He's fantastic.
Lance getting fired up is entertainment.
Yeah, so you see the technical side of it, and you see the heart of it, and both those two things are what has made Louisville City so successful, and it makes the show successful as well. It's a lot of fun to watch those two go at it.
Yeah, and that's what we've been talking about, taking this deal to do remotes, that kind of thing. Maybe that's the kind of thing you guys are, because I think as much exposure as we possibly can as a family is how this thing takes it to another level.
Here's what we do. I didn't clear this with anybody, just because it just
there you go.
In my head.
Pretend he's not asking for permission.
we take this setup and set it up in the 790 studio and do a dual show.
We're in. I think we can work that out.
Now, don't twist my arm.
The only rules, of course, are FCC rules, right?
Absolutely.
I was just in Washington.
Which we do too. We do that.
Yeah, I was just in Washington, so we were right next to the FCC building, and I had to laugh.
We never say bad words.
That's good. That's good. But we can
almost never say bad words.
Never say bad words.
Matt's done the heck out of us a couple of weeks ago. Go back. By the way, I'm going to plug that. If this is the first time you're watching this, We load these up to YouTube on Friday, so you can watch it on Friday. And we also have the audio feed, which is now available on iTunes, which we now have a ton of subscribers after our first week. Anyway, I'm sorry.
That's great.
Yeah, we would love to do stuff like that, but it's not even it's doing remote stuff together. There's been a real effort over the last year. I know you just come on, but there's really been an effort recently to start working together a lot more.
Yeah, that's good.
Glenn's on. I mean, he's
Purple
working with the board.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
He'll tell us more about that too. It's just the more we can do that is the better it gets, and the more those lines are crossed, and we're marching in lockstep. I mean, now as somebody who's an employee, you're a fan too, but you're an employee. How do you see? I mean, you mentioned one example of how that possibly could be. What else would you think?
Yeah, I think the more work together, the better. And part of what we want to do as a front office is encourage it where we can and get the heck out of the way when it's not our business, right? And so we don't want to force stuff if we can possibly avoid forcing stuff. We don't want to force stuff. But when we see things that are starting to move the right direction, we're like, yeah, do that. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And so we're seeing more of that. I love it. And I think the collaborative will of all these different fan groups of LouCity, specifically in charity, can do incredible things. Right, and
that's a big push that we're doing.
Absolutely.
Actually, next week, hopefully, I mean, we have a little bit of a supporter meeting on Monday, and hopefully we're gonna be. I'm gonna push a long-term fundraiser. I hope it gets pushed. I think it's gonna be a really good one. We don't want to spill the beans on that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're good. You're great.
Okay. We'll always let everybody that comes on open mic, discuss anything you want. Let us know what you think. What hopes, dreams, aspirations. I don't know.
I get that. Just team stuff for just a minute. I get the sense that there's been a frustration among the team for a while that we're not getting the results that we feel like we deserve. We're not getting the results that our practices feel like they deserve, and there's a significant tension in the locker rooms and practices. I'm sorry, I keep smacking them. I talk with my hands.
They're only about $850.
Sorry about that.
They're not.
We'll send you a bill.
And so there's a significant tension, and I'm of the belief that tension's not always a bad thing. That tension, that stress can make diamonds when it needs to, and so I think what we're seeing is the genesis of a second half surge. I don't want to overtalk it. I don't want to overplay it, but I just get this feeling that things are rolling that direction. And part of it is I gotta believe that the bad luck of shots off frame or stuff hitting woodwork or that kind of stuff has to change at some point. Right. And my sincere hope and my sincere belief as well is that it's going to change in these last 12 games, and you're going to see a run from these guys. And I think we're going to look up 6 games from now and be like, this was the team.
I hope so, and it's the fan base here has never experienced this. They've never experienced where they haven't been like top dog, or at least close. And I think that's great for us. I really do, because having been we're all sports fans, and we've all had teams that we've supported forever that just don't win anything, and you just hang in there. And Louisville just we just came out of the cradle, smiling and yelling. Yeah. Well, it's not the case right now, and maybe that'll toughen us up. Not that we're bad. It's not even saying that. Just I think it's a good experience.
You and I both, when we talk to each other, sometimes say that we've been spoiled for 2 years.
Absolutely,
very spoiled.
That's what we have, and I think, and I still believe we have the talent to beat any team in this league.
Absolutely,
anywhere, anytime, any stadium. We still have that. So we'll see what happens. Man, this has been fun.
Yeah,
I hope you've had a really good time, Howie. It's been I really appreciate it.
Sure.
We're not going to we're going to try not to get too excited about that dual cast thing.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
That'd be a lot of fun.
We'd set up the lights in the studio. We'd use our normal mics. I don't know how we interface completely, but it's technology.
It'll be a lot of fun, and it'll be better for everybody.
Yeah, that'd be a blast.
Thank you, sir. Really appreciate it, ladies and gentlemen. Howie Lindsay was kind enough to take some time with us, and. See, that's the second time, Matt. Last week you said I didn't know that you knew Brad when you were a young guy, a super young guy.
Yeah, we went to school together.
Yeah, I've known him for like over 35 years now.
And so you all shared a work experience and didn't even really know it at some level. So it's a small.
It's the biggest small town in the world.
Go ahead. Talk about your experience going at that. What was that place you said?
Charter. It was HSA for a while, and then Charter, the internet company, bought them out.
Okay.
He was really good at first.
Okay. Oh, we're getting a call. Is this? No, I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. I hope it's not a bill collector.
Watching you live.
Watching me like, hey, yo, you said you were dead. You called us and said you were dead. Okay, so every week we're
There's
like,
a couple of large associates of Luigi's. And,
yeah, exactly.
I got questions.
A little nervous now. We're going to try and get Shauna on right now. So fill some airspace for a minute. Say something. I don't know.
I went to Aldi today.
Okay.
And I spent $20 and filled up my freezer.
Nice.
That's impressive.
I know. And I've got off-brand pizza rolls
Mm-hmm.
that were, what did I say the name of that place? Mama.
I don't know.
I can go look at your freezer.
There you go. Yeah, Glenn's got us covered.
Get on it, Glenn.
So $20. It's like Mama something.
Mama Cozies.
Mama
Cozies. Oh,
yeah.
What are they?
If you want a bag of pizza rolls for $1,
Yeah.
a bag of pizza rolls for $1.29, Aldi's got your stuff, man.
Yeah. Awesome. I hope they watch that. So they, we should. It would be nice to have a sponsor.
Fun fact.
Keep your bank account rosy. Buy Mama Cozies.
Only a few people know this, but Aldi was this close to being a sponsor for the Louisville Thunder.
Really?
Really?
And the only reason that they dropped it was because we had a last-minute venue change, so I lost Aldi.
Wow.
Sorry.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
But we're going to...
Talking about the Groove Machine maybe sponsoring them.
Get Aldi's a Groove Machines.
No.
I got you.
Get them to sponsor us.
Yes, Aldi. We're going to sponsor Aldi.
Why not?
They're pizza rolls, right?
Yeah.
So, look who's calling. Shauna. Hey, Shauna. Hold on. Answer, Joe. Answer. Like, I'm a dork. Are you there, Shauna?
Yeah, I'm here, Joe.
Hi, how are you?
Did you try and call me? Because I didn't hear it ring or anything.
Yeah, I was trying to call you, but I'm so inept when it comes to devices and stuff like that.
I thought I'd try to call you.
I appreciate that. You called at the perfect time. How are you? Everything's good?
I'm fine. I've been watching, of course.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. I think Howie was pretty awesome, wasn't he?
He was.
Yes, he was.
He was.
Now, before we get an update on Angel Share for this month, we need a Bobo update. How's the dog doing?
Oh, boy.
Go ahead.
Bobo's laying right here. Bobo got in trouble last week.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. What did you do?
A week ago. The Clarksville Volunteer Fire Department had to go out on a boat and haul his ass out of the Ohio River.
No way.
What did he do?
Oh,
my
wait.
God.
Well, I was out along the Ohio River last Thursday afternoon,
Okay.
and he was pulling badly on the leash,
Okay.
which he never pulls.
Mhm.
So I handed the leash off to someone else, and that someone else, even though I told them do not let him off the leash, unclipped the leash.
Oh, man.
He immediately started running. Now, mind you, the water was not visible. He immediately started running in the direction of the water, looking back over his shoulder to make sure we were following.
Oh, my.
Before we got down to the bottom of the hill, he had jumped in and had started swimming for Shippingport Island. He got to the coast of that island, and he swam up and down the coast of Shippingport Island, and he was out there for an hour.
Oh, no.
Come on. Well, but he's safe, and how'd you get him off? How'd you get him
Oh,
off
yeah.
down?
Well, no, he knew what he was doing, because when I would call his name, he would look to the shore with his ears up and continue to swim.
Unbelievable.
So
Dogs.
the person I was with called 911 in Clarksville Volunteer Fire Department, sent some people out with a boat, and we actually think he was fishing. The dog was fishing.
Oh, my gosh.
And they hauled him out, and I watched this, and I could hear him. He was yelping and barking.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other fire department members met us and took us to where their boat ramp is. We
Okay.
get there. The boat's on the trailer. He's sitting in the lap of a firefighter. And I'm like, when you hauled him in, did he lick your face or what? He says, no. He says, he just sat in my lap.
Oh, geez.
So we got him hooked up to the leash.
Mhm.
They lowered him to the ground. He immediately
Hey, Ryan, right?
tried to get to the water.
Awesome.
A fireman stepped in front of him and grabbed him.
Oh, my gosh. You got a live one there.
Yeah,
So I think
he's obsessed with swimming.
okay. So I think not only going to be doing an Angel Share bit, we're going to be doing the escapades of Bobo
Mhm.
every 2
It
weeks.
Yeah.
sounds like it'll
So
be.
I don't know. Good luck with that.
Believe me, I about had a heart attack
Right.
because he was in the water for an hour, and there were a bunch of guys out there. Some were fishing that were trying to help us. And one guy even said, if I had a 100-foot rope, I'd tie it around my waist and try and swim out there and get him.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, it was just unbelievable.
How strong is that dog to where it can?
You.
Was he in the water for
very
an hour?
Strong.
Wow.
Yes.
That's insane.
Jeez.
He only got on the island once, and he was on there for less than 30 seconds before he was back in the water.
Only time I
He
stayed
found
with,
a sandbar that he got on and immediately got back in the water.
only time I spend an hour in the water is if I'm drunk in a whirlpool thing.
Oh,
Anyway.
I've never seen anything like it. Never.
Well, okay. We're gonna check in on him next week, but we need to get the update on Angel Share. Tell us what's going on with Angel Share.
Yes, Angel Share. The charity of the week, of course, is Louisville City Power Soccer.
Okay. And
or charity of the month.
charity month. And what
The,
are we going to be doing anything?
yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes. Right now, Paulo de Piccolo donated a jersey, and it's online right now as a bid.
Okay.
So you can go online and you can bid on the jersey,
Mm-hmm.
and the money will go to Louisville City Power Soccer.
Is that on Facebook or Instagram or what?
It's on. I
On the
think there's a link
website?
on the Cooper's Facebook page.
Okay.
You can find it on the Angel Share Twitter account.
Mhm.
The Coopers retweeted it. It's there, and it's I believe Michelle posted it. Louisville City fan page, tailgaters, the various sites that we all hang out on
Okay.
on Facebook.
And this is one of those purple and pink breast cancer ones.
Correct,
Okay.
and it's autographed. So that's great.
Okay.
Also, Patricia, who is the founder of Louisville, actually, at the time when this came up, it was Kentuckiana Power Soccer.
Right.
She's going to be on Barrel Proof Tuesday night.
Okay. Cool.
So everybody needs
That's
to
good.
listen to the podcast
Absolutely.
next Wednesday,
We will do that.
and you will find out. Everybody can find out more about the Power Soccer and how this relationship between Kentuckiana Power Soccer and Louisville City Power Soccer developed,
And,
because the team has adopted this Power Soccer team.
and that's
And
awesome.
for those that don't know, Power Soccer, it's a sport for individuals
Mhm.
who use a motorized wheelchair.
Right.
It doesn't matter how it's operated. It could be by breath, by joystick, by eye movement. However they operate their motorized wheelchair, they can play.
Awesome.
Hey, Sean,
And they play
Sean, I've got
on a basketball court.
typically I don't do this, but we do have a question in the chat. When are we going to get to see another Power Soccer match? Do you have any idea when that might happen?
Hopefully that it's supposed to maybe happen. They're going to try and, I think, do it at one of the tailgates in August, because
Okay.
this is a month-long thing. The team is supposed to be doing a kit reveal for the Power Soccer team on
Oh,
Sunday,
nice.
August 11th.
August
Yeah.
30th?
August
Howie
30th.
Howie just told us August 30th.
August. Oh, it is the 30th? Okay, I wasn't sure, because in my notes I put look for more information online, because it was kind of up in the air, the last information I got
Okay.
as to the specific date.
Awesome.
Awesome.
But I think they're going to try and do like a game or a practice
Mhm.
before
Alright.
one of the matches. I think in the tailgate area, maybe.
And that's
awesome.
And that's one of the things. And that's one of the things that we've been talking about and we keep talking about, is that's the kind of stuff that being a part of this is really makes it way more important than winning or losing soccer games. Sean, I'm sorry, Sean, we got to move on. But is there anything else specifically towards Angel Share?
Yeah. There's going to be a raffle for a Cooper's Craft Barrelhead
Okay.
that's been signed by all the team.
Wow, that's pretty
Nice.
cool.
$5. The raffle starts this Sunday, August 11th. Tickets are $5 as usual.
Mhm.
If you can't be present to win, give your ticket to somebody who will be there.
Excellent.
And the drawing will be held. We're looking at holding it at the August 24th tailgate.
Okay.
Cool.
Excellent.
All right.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Sean. And then
That's so cool.
we're going to talk to you. We're going to call you next Thursday with more Angel Share info. We're going to be talking about a fundraiser that we're going to start pushing next week, and also the exploits of Bobo. Make sure that Bobo's.
Let's hope his
Let's hope there's no exploits.
aren't yeah, not like that anyway.
You're gonna have to get a pool.
Shauna, thank you so much for everything that you're doing. Okay.
Thank you guys.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Bye bye.
Bye. So there you go. That's some of the stuff that we're going to be doing with that. And looking forward.
Tune in next week for another exciting adventure of Bobo.
Okay, let's move on. I think it's time to get Glenn up here. Glenn Grumm is one of our capos, and he's a little nervous.
I'm a little nervous.
You should not be nervous. I've seen you on the capo stand. You don't look nervous.
I'm not nervous up there. I've had way more to drink usually when I'm up there, though. So I had to drive home, and I stopped at Blizzards.
Oh, okay.
Did you get the itinerary that we sent out?
I didn't. Oh, no.
Okay.
I'm in trouble. I don't have the itinerary.
Did you sign the appearance agreement?
I did not.
And you
didn't sign the waiver yet?
They haven't signed the waiver.
Wait, what's going to happen here? How I just sat here and you talked to him? What are you guys doing to me?
He's famous.
Yeah.
Oh. I was going, he's going to get that. Oh, no. I'm in trouble. Oh, jeez. No.
Well, Glenn, it's wonderful to see you here, sir.
It's awesome to see you guys as well. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Before we even begin, I want to say thank you for doing the capo thing. You don't have to do that. And it's a lot of work. And we've been trying to cycle through everybody that's been on here that's been doing it because you deserve some recognition for what you do.
I appreciate that. But I'm doing it more for the club than I am for myself. Right? I mean, that's not just because I want to be up there having a good time. I want everybody else to get into it and have a good time and get them going. So hopefully they can score a few goals and win.
Or five.
Or five.
Or five.
I'll take five.
Right. So anyway, we're going to go back. We ask everybody, I didn't meet you. I didn't know you until you got involved with the capo thing. Yeah. So tell us about what you were all about and what you were doing before you got into Louisville City. I know it's a big question because we're talking about basically the last, I don't even know how old you are, but the last X amount of years of your life. So go.
41.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I am.
Come on. You're a handsome young man.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. I'm not that young now. Well, I mean.
Were you born and raised here?
No, I'm a transplant. I was born in upstate New York, Oneonta.
Oh, sure.
My parents met, and then we moved around a lot. My father, and we ended up in State College, Pennsylvania, where I met my beautiful wife, and Beth, and we moved to the Baltimore area.
Okay, you State College. Are you a Penn State fan?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, the Tanny Lions.
Yeah, absolutely, and we went to Baltimore, D.C. area. We got married in Friendship, Maryland, which is on the shore.
How long have you been married?
16 years.
Golly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I thought you guys were younger than that, man, which is a massive compliment, by the way.
I appreciate that.
That's awesome. Golly, you've been married 16 years.
Yeah, we'll be 16 in April.
Good
15
for you.
right now. But yeah, we came here. So Beth was offered a job, and we came here, and this place was amazing. So we went to a restaurant, and that's what really sold us. We went to this restaurant, and everybody was talking to us like they were our friends. And I don't know if you guys have been to Baltimore or been to D.C. No one is your friend there.
They mostly just
Right.
Yeah, typically, yeah. It's much less.
The bigger we have the same. The bigger the city, the more there. And there's a word that rhymes with city. So go ahead.
But yeah, so we really enjoyed that atmosphere. We decided to come here. We've been here, I want to say 11 years now.
Okay.
So it's been a while. And we hadn't been, so the first, 6 years we were here, we weren't super involved in the community. We were kind of transplants and hung out with other people that were transplants. And Louisville City kind of got us more involved in Louisville and the culture here. And we lived pretty far out, though, because we didn't know when we moved here where you want to live.
Right. Okay. I was kind of the same way. I just sort of plopped into the Linden area.
Yeah, we're further out than that.
Okay.
We're halfway to Cincinnati, if you ask Ken and Rebecca.
Well, yeah.
We're outside of the 265 over by like Costco.
Sure.
Oh, wow. I used to live out that way.
Yeah. So it's 20 minutes to everywhere.
Yeah.
And all the fun things you want to do.
Right.
So then you have the designated driver. That's the worst part, right? Like you're counting how many beers you can each have.
Oh, wow.
You get to like the third beer, you're like, all right, this is my third. You have to stop now and drink water.
What do you do for a carear?
I'm a salesman.
Okay.
Industrial supplies.
Okay.
So
see,
not super exciting.
That's okay, but first thing I want to ask you is that everybody says this that have been capos. I'm really interested in hearing your experience. Before we ask that, why don't you tell me about your first game that you came to, and stepping and leading up to the first day where you became a capo?
The first game was the very first game. So I was at work listening to the radio, and they said that Louisville City has a professional soccer team. And I was like, what? I got to get tickets. So I called Beth, and I was like, get tickets to this match. And she looks them up. She goes, do you want the cheap ones or the expensive ones? And I said, well, where are the expensive ones?
Right.
She's like, right in midfield. Let's sit in midfield. That'll be the best.
Okay.
So we get tickets. We're sitting in midfield. Everybody else is having a great time. The team is kicking St. Louis's butt.
Right.
We're having a blast. We're like, we want to sit over
Which is something that everybody's doing right now, by the way.
Right?
Gosh,
I know.
awful.
What happened there?
Anyway, I digress.
So we watched everybody have a good time that first match, and we're like, we're going to sit there. That's where we're going to sit. So the next day, Beth ordered season tickets.
Okay.
And we've attended almost every match since then. And I guess it was the third season, they had 2017, they had a meeting for people that wanted to be capos.
Right.
And we'd been attending a lot of road matches, and I wanted to learn the cheers so I could help people at away matches cheer.
Right.
And so I go to this meeting, and it was Melissa, and I want to say maybe Ken. I think you were there maybe, and Rick. And I sit down, and Melissa goes, what are you here for? And I said, well, I want to learn the cheers so I can cheer, for the away matches. And she goes, you can't just cheer at away matches. I said, what do you mean? If you're going to cheer, you're going to cheer all the time.
That sounds like Melissa.
I said, all right, I'm in. And I went home and told Beth, and she's like, I can't believe you agreed to that.
Mm-hmm.
And that first match, the first time I got up there, I think was with Melissa, and it was intense, and it was so much fun, and getting everybody going. Yeah, it's a good time.
And the first, leading to what I wanted to ask you, but I wanted to hear first about what led you to do that. Most of the folks that have become capos have told us that they were very introverted at first, and then for some reason, this came along and has had literally an impact on people's personalities. I guess the first question is, you're a salesman. You can't be that introverted. You can't sell nothing if you're introverted.
Yeah,
That's impossible.
We're having a random discussion at home tonight, and I was talking about possibly driving Lyft, and Beth was like, that's a really good career because you like to talk to strangers.
Okay.
I was like, all right, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
I'll talk to just about anybody on the street. Like,
right.
I definitely, this wasn't a personality opening for me. I've always been kind of a very extroverted person. I talk to everybody, anybody, have a good time.
So did that lend itself to making it easier to be a capo? Because it's different. It's not as interpersonal. I mean, now you're talking to you're not talking. You're singing in front of the entire crowd. That's a whole different.
I don't know if you've heard me sing, but it's not that great. Especially not to that megaphone. It's
that's a weird deal, man.
Right?
But anyway, was that so it's that first game, and it's your first game, and you're looking at the crowd, and do you remember that experience? What it was like?
Oh yeah.
I went home and cleaned my underwear.
Exactly. I was like, what did I get myself into? Everybody is staring at me. And then I was like, I'm just going to have a good time, and hopefully they'll start having a good time. So I just started having fun up there, and then everybody else had fun. So I was like, I'll just keep going.
That is awesome. What's your favorite cheer?
I really like We Are 502. But
I like that too.
I mean, Misfits, be like kind of punk rock.
Right. And that's what I also wanted to get into with you a little bit is you are a bit of a music aficionado. I'm always seeing online that you're listening to music like all the time, and I want to hear a little bit about.
It's intense.
Yeah.
I go to Peddler's Mall quite a bit, and I was at Peddler's Mall down here in Middletown. A few weeks ago.
Yep.
And I'm like, Glenn, I'm sending Glenn pictures because somebody sells like old vinyl records at Peddler's Mall, and Glenn's like, dude, thank you so much.
It's so exciting when someone gives you a tip that some places have records. And usually places like that, they sell them for less than other places, right? Because the record store gets them and they look up on Discogs and they figure out the top dollar price. Places like that are going to charge, $5 a record or whatever. Right. So that's where you want to find your gems there.
Okay.
Yep.
So. But it's going to be a tough question to ask. I mean, you have a pretty eclectic music tastes. Oh. So if I had to ask you what 2 or 3 of your favorite bands were or musicians, who would they be?
That's so difficult because what genre of music do you want? Like
I know you were a big fan of my EP that I put out in February, Joe Vala, Who I Am. I'm sorry, did I just shamelessly plug myself? I apologize.
I believe you might have, Joe. I think you did.
Seriously, like 2 or 3 that you would be like a go-to when you need to listen to something. What do you listen to?
So there's a Japanese metal band, Boris.
Okay.
I drove to Philadelphia to see them perform from Louisville.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, they're one of my favorite bands. I have almost all of their records.
How many people? I've never heard of them. How many people?
There's
some of those bands. There's a lot of players.
There's only 4 people in this band.
Okay.
And they're amazing, very loud, and their style changes. Each record is a little different.
Okay.
So they evolve.
Boris.
Yeah.
All right.
And their next record's actually coming out on Third Man Records, which is kind of exciting.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, especially the amount of Third Man Records. I mean, Jack White has almost all of my money at this point. Like, if you had a direct deposit program, I could probably work on that. Like, just give him my paycheck. Shoot. So I just ordered. There's this band, this heavy band, Bongzilla.
Yes,
like
I've heard the name.
metal,
I've heard
yeah.
the name, yeah.
I ordered a couple of their records, so I've been listening to
See,
that a lot lately.
here's the thing about metal, and here's where I jumped off the ship. I jumped off the ship when I couldn't understand what they were saying anymore.
Get out of here,
I'm
Joe.
serious because I'm a lyrics guy and I love listening to the stories and songs.
Glenn and I are going to make you listen to Every Time I Die.
Oh my gosh!
Okay.
I was listening on the way here.
Who's
Low Teens, Every Time I Die.
Okay.
Oh,
You won't be able to understand what he's saying, but once you read the lyrics, you're like, whoa.
yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what I do with Rammstein is that I love the music. I love the music. It's just I can't understand what they're saying.
Because it's in German.
I know, but that's the
German,
point. Is
right?
that I want to understand what they're saying. Then I guess that doesn't really matter to you.
No,
Which is great.
it doesn't. I mean,
that makes you
I
smarter
can
than me.
understand some of it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it probably drives Beth crazy, but I can sing along to the Acacia Strain, and they definitely like none of their lyrics are like complete. I know what he's saying. Like, if you listen to it enough, you can decipher that, and then
Once you learn all the lyrics to Horse the Band, then you're good. You can
yeah,
understand anything.
Absolutely, right?
I had he's not going to hear this. I have a former student who I'm not even going to say the name of the band because I have a former student that plays drums in a band. I'll tell you offline. And he was like, come see the band. This is going back, gosh, I don't know, 15 years ago. And I'm like, okay, dude, I'll come see the band. And he was a good drummer. I mean, he was a good drummer in school. And I went to see it. And it was the darkest dark metal thing I had ever experienced in my life.
So it was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
It was. I couldn't get past I just couldn't get past the fact that A, I couldn't understand what they were saying, and B, I felt that I was surrounded by Satan.
Did you get in the pit?
No.
Oh,
And then
man,
I stuck around for the whole show,
Nice.
and I was like, yeah, great. I'll tell you. What
You meet some characters at those shows.
Yeah, no kidding. But okay, so vinyl or digital?
Oh, I'm all vinyl.
Really?
I have about 3,000 records.
Hey, but have you ever played an instrument?
Not well.
Okay, so you never recorded. If you've ever recorded, I mean, a lot of people they'll say that they like doing it analog. They're lying out their ass because digital is so much easier. Like I could do, like when I did my thing, I did most of all the solo work and all the keyboard work in my apartment.
Wow.
You know, and that's why I guess for me it's experiencing it from that side of it and how easy it is. So a good vinyl system would be. I mean, I don't want to ask you what you have, or unless you want to say it. I mean, it's up to you.
Which one?
Oh, there you go. There you go.
My favorite is probably my Rega RP1 turntable. Everything sounds so good.
Some people would argue that that's actually an instrument, so you can play instruments.
Come on, there you go.
There you go. So I'm awesome at playing that instrument. So
all right, so you're doing. I want to ask you something about the signs on your back. You put different signs on your back.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? When did that start?
a punk rock thing, right? Like you'd go to a punk rock show and you'd get a back patch from the band, you'd put it on your vest.
Okay.
So I decided that I would put a little message on one for each match, right? Make it match specific. So it's supposed to be something. Sometimes it's a pun. Sometimes it's something more serious. But typically it's just.
I always look for them.
Like,
I always look for them. I read your back, Glenn.
Awesome.
So what's your favorite? Do you have a favorite that you did?
Oh, I don't know that I have. I really liked. I did the one that said "Freedom" in red, white, and blue a couple matches ago, but just because I actually painted it really well.
So it's more of the aesthetics.
Yeah, and it had like it had gold glitter outline, and like it looked really good. Didn't necessarily have an awesome. I mean, freedom's an awesome message, but it wasn't like one of those really creative messages where I used a nice pun to make fun of our opponent.
Right. And all right, so now you're part of the whole deal, and you're really ensconced in all of this. You've been to the stadium, I'm assuming, a bunch of times. I'm going to guess that you've been there once or twice.
Only once.
Come on, really?
I've only been there once.
Okay.
I
almost missed the turnoff coming here today. Looking at it, I swear to God, I swear.
I was inside on Monday, and I walked because they did the naming rights thing, and I went down there and. I walked through the tunnel and came out in the field and I had goosebumps. And I looked around and I was like, this is going to be amazing. Yeah. Like, would you ever, 5 years ago, would you have looking around Slugger and been like, oh yeah, we're definitely going to have this amazing
stadium, state of the art.
Yeah.
You know, like we were just saying with Howie, it's like this is going to be the place to play if you're not in Division One.
Yeah, for sure.
For that time period, you know, who knows what's going to happen with USL? It's going to be a massive. There are going to be so many changes in the next 10, 15 years. So
Pro-Rel
maybe, or something akin to. We're going to talk about that later. An interview that Garber just gave, and I always ask the capos, what do you like about what's going on? What do you think we could do a little better? What would you suggest? Are you just generally happy with it? I mean, you can be. That's a legit answer.
I mean, I'm generally pretty happy. I think that trying to get more people involved with the march might be a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the first couple of years it was real like show of force. We came down the street. There's a bunch of us, and I feel like it kind of has fizzled out. Maybe that's people don't want to. It's too short or whatever it is, but I feel like we should get that going for the new season. I feel like that's something.
Right.
It'd be really awesome if we had an entire street in Butchertown where we just took over. And I've been scouting. It looks like there's a really nice path that runs right next to Copper and Kings. They have like a gate at the back of.
Okay.
And it goes right into the back of the stadium there. So I don't know if they would open that up for us that we could march down that way.
Okay.
Straight into the Cooper section too.
Yeah,
Is it? Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that at all. I don't know that area very well. But that's you know, I love the fact when you drive past that stadium, and I say it all the time, it is, man, for lack of a better word, majestic. There's something about it that is just so cool.
When I kind of start ending my day, I'm typically I'm either downtown or I'm on campus down at Belknap. I will take 64 home. And you know how it kind of there's like that incline, and then you merge on to either 71, 64, or whatever. Mm-hmm. I actually enjoy the traffic that gets built up there because sometimes you get stuck in it. It's all that traffic building up before the Grinstead Tunnel.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have stopped on that bridge, and I'll just sit in my car like, oh, there it is. It's right next to me. And it's like I love this traffic jam so much.
And
yeah.
So it's been pretty crazy watching this whole thing take off, has it not?
Absolutely.
And what I know I asked you what you'd like to see as far as being a capo, different. What about one of the things that I've been tossing around is trying to raise a little bit of money for a bit of a sound system for the capos, where they could actually use a microphone
instead of megaphones.
Instead of megaphones. What do you think?
I think that'd be amazing.
Okay.
Because then people will actually hear us. Because I think right now, because we all assume that it's a megaphone and we have to yell through it. So we yell into a megaphone. And I don't know if you guys know how that works, but it's not real good.
Yeah, and that's
sounds super distorted, and
especially when nobody understands direction.
Right.
Some people right at you.
And I hate
the more you drink, the harder it is to aim at it, right?
But Glenn, that's what we were just talking about before. I used to teach marching band, and I used to teach drum corps. And you'd ask a horn player, and I don't say anything about it because who cares? Everybody's having a good time. But when you're a horn player and you're trying to teach 80 some odd players to musically, you want them all facing the bell at you. And it's the same effect. If I have a megaphone and I do like this, the birds can hear you. But it's just because of the way the sound is. I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying, we do all, there's things that we do that nobody, whatever. It's just that's the reason why. Is that if you have a microphone that you have to speak into, if it's on a stand or something like that, you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about, distorted and megaphones. That speaker, I'm surprised they haven't come up with like digital something microphone megaphones that don't sound. I've never seen one. Maybe because people just use microphone. The portable systems are so easy to carry around now. So that'd be something you think might be a pretty cool idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah, something to think about. I don't know. Anyway, man, add something. We always give everybody a chance to just talk about whatever you want. Go ahead.
Talk about the podcast.
Talk about you as a member of the board, right?
Oh yeah, I took over a new position. I'm
Which
treasurer
was
right now.
Okay.
So getting everything in order, making sure we're taking care of all of our bills and whatnot.
So you'll know if you have enough money for a
That was a memorable first meeting.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Wow.
We'll be all right. We're getting it all in order.
But the first board meeting I come back to. Chaos, just
really?
All the stuff that needs to be done right now. Yeah.
Right.
We're doing good now. I think
we're
getting going in the right direction for 2020.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We also, I've been featuring on the Barrel Proof podcast now.
Mm-hmm. Yes, tell us about that as well.
So I guess Matt stepped away to do something else. I'm not sure what he's doing.
It must be this.
Yeah, in fact, it is.
Oh. So that was an opening, and I thought it would help out. I mean, we're going to get more involved.
Right.
And I think that
So it's Ty and you and who else? Is
Taylor
still a regular? Or?
he's every other week right now, and then we
Okay.
have Matt as well.
Right.
Matt Dalton.
I haven't seen Ty in a long time. I
Ty?
had a conversation with Ty at one of the resurfaced games, and talked to the guy for like 20 minutes. Really cool dude. Like I enjoy talking to him. He's a good dude.
He's an awesome guy.
And
He really is.
so how's that all meshing together? I mean, I listened to it, and I thought the last I was a little disappointed in the answer on the tacos last week from Taylor. I let him know that. I mean, if he can only do 4 tacos, I'm
right? Who
what's
only
up
eats
with
4
that?
tacos?
Eating only 4 tacos. He said something about his girlish figure. I was like, I'll let that go.
At least 10, if not more.
Yeah, right. So it's meshing together pretty well.
I think so. I mean, I listen to it. I'm always very critical at first. I'm like, oh man, that was terrible. Then I listen back. I'm like, I didn't do so bad. And I'm getting better each episode. So remembering to say more things. I believe if you listen back to the past few episodes, I never introduced myself. I introduced everybody else.
Yeah, I noticed that.
So I'm like, hey, this is who's with me. You don't know who I am though. Surprise.
Right. But so you got that. You got your board member. So you are deeply involved, and I'm guessing it's because you love it. You have
Absolutely.
to. You know.
I mean, you were in New Jersey 3 years ago at the I mean, who drives on a Sunday night to New Jersey to see the Eastern Conference Championship? You know what I mean?
We had a pretty good crowd there that night. Too.
Absolutely.
We were way louder than they were. It wasn't even funny.
Did they have like 300 or something?
Well, they had 300. It wasn't even that though, because a lot of them were fans of the MLS team.
Right.
And
name recognition.
Yeah, they were just kind of like, I think they kind of begged people to show up.
Yeah.
So we were way louder than they were.
I mean,
I thought they had the MLS game right before that.
They did.
Right. That's absolutely correct. That's why they stuck around. There wasn't
Yeah.
even that many people that stuck around.
It was surprising how many people left, and they kept announcing, and I'm like, why is everybody leaving? There's another match,
Right.
and you guys are supposed to support this team.
They
or
were
something?
tired.
Well, it was a really long day.
It was hot too. It was hot, if I remember correctly. It was pretty hot that afternoon.
Yeah, it was a warm afternoon, I guess. But,
Still.
I mean,
Well, that's the whole mentality of that area. Having grown up, I mean, I grew up in the town right next to it, and it's a pro sports area. We were just talking about that with Lindsay, and there's this thing where people have to attach themselves to the identity of something bigger. I still don't get it. As long as you have a good time, what do I care what division the stupid team is? The most fun I ever had at sporting events besides Louisville is when I used to go to high school soccer games. We had so much fun at those things. So, I mean, anyway.
isn't sports fandom really weird in America, though?
Yes, it is. It's very weird.
It's even weirder in this city.
Sorry about that. But nobody supports a team that's like, you talk to anyone. Who's your NFL team? And everyone's got some crazy team far away that they never have gone to a game for.
It's a mix.
And then you're like, we actually have this pro soccer team. I don't know about that.
There's
They're
a
in your
lot of
town.
people- There's a lot of
Literally
people
down
that
the street.
There's
I don't know.
Man, this has been a lot of fun. I hope you had a good time. Definitely gonna have you
Absolutely.
back. We're going to cycle through everybody. And,
So I did okay. Then
I think you
did good.
Terrible.
You passed the audition.
Yes. All right.
Talk about the Beatles.
It
So
was glorious.
it was glorious. But I really
Next time we're gonna talk about every time I die, though. We'll have a whole list of songs to go over with
Oh,
them.
God.
We should play some for him.
Joe's not going to know what to do with himself.
I'm telling you, I was going to sit there going, what?
If you
That guy's a
listen to Map
lyrical
Changes
genius.
by Every Time I Die, then it's off the new record.
Okay.
There's a lot of clean vocals on the new record
Okay.
compared to most of the other ones.
Okay.
So at least you'll be able to understand some of it.
Mhm.
Map Changes, though. It's lyrically, it's a pretty basic song. Anyway,
Cool.
thank you guys so much for having me on.
Thank you.
I
Yeah,
appreciate
man.
it.
Thank you, Glenn.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming over, man.
Glenn Grumm, ladies and gentlemen, who, like we said, has done a lot of work. Obviously, if you're talking about doing the podcast and being involved in the board of the Cougars and doing the capo thing at games, Matt, that's a lot of work.
It is. It is a bit of work.
But listen,
I'm doing a bit different different podcast, different role in the board, and drumming is the capoing. But otherwise,
right. So that's one of the things we could definitely push as time goes on. Is we could really use some more people to hook up that have maybe not stepped up yet to do any leadership stuff. And leadership doesn't have to be something like visual like this. We're doing this.
Yep.
There's a lot of opportunities, especially with the community outreach thing starting to really ramp up, where we can, we could really use some help in doing all of this. So I'm going to ask a favor. We haven't even talked about this, but we're running a little behind. I mean, it's already 9:00. And maybe we can put off the wrestling deal for a show.
Yeah, let's do that.
Is that okay?
Let's do that.
Put it off for one week? No?
It's fine.
Let's do it to where I can actually not be sick and have put some thought into it.
Okay.
Well, and they'll give us another week to promote it too. So what we've been doing over the last four shows is we've been picking wrestlers to hook and matching them up with some of our players. And we've had mock matches, and we have a championship coming up, and we'll talk about it more on Twitter. But we're going to call it the Super Duper Death Match. And I don't even know why I call it that, but it's going to be a lot of fun. I want to give it enough time to make it fun. Okay. And I think we're going to be in a bit of rush because I know Mike has a job. Don't you? Do you work, Mike?
He said no.
He doesn't have a job. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move right on with the show. We're going to do the wrestling bit next week, so for time purposes. But our next guest, our final guest of the evening, is someone who you may know. You have to come over here, man. We're not coming over here. He's wonderful. That's good. Look at this. Very nice. Very good. See, you just set the standard. You just set the standard for bringing people on.
I like it.
I don't even think he was drinking.
No, I'm not even drinking yet. Not even drinking yet.
Folks, if you've been following,
I know that Jameson right over there, so
you can probably work that in.
I can grab some if you like.
If you've been following the team at any level, you know who Mike Bromilow is. He's adopted the nickname Scouse, and he has been the person that has coordinated the entire section, one of the end zone section. End zone, listen to me.
End zone, man.
End zone. What the hell is that?
Exactly. I apologize. The NFL starts tonight. The Giants have their first preseason game, but he behind that goal, behind the other goal, he has organized that section and has done a massive amount of work. And we are very, very happy to have you on, sir.
Good to be here.
Welcome to the apartment.
Yeah, thank you. It took me a while to find it, and it took me, I think,
you got a little bit closer.
20 seconds from work, just over there, and we came straight on over.
You're always driving around. Every time I call you, you're
Oh yeah. I do a lot of driving.
Are you special? Is that people love?
Oh yeah, I'm special.
I can tell.
My wife tells me that all the time. He's special.
Right. But man,
by the way, cheers.
Cheers. Thank you for coming.
Awesome stuff.
Cheers. Salute. Brad Estes.
Cheers.
And so I've been excited because we've become pretty close, and we're buds. But I have yet to ask you about your childhood, what it was like growing up, becoming a Liverpool fan, and living in that area. So if you could take a couple minutes, tell us all.
Well, I never had a choice.
Right.
Yeah.
I had a choice where I was born. No.
Yeah. Didn't have a choice.
Hey, I want to come out of your womb.
Always going to be a Liverpool fan, no matter what.
That's something you never hear in a something you'll never hear in a podcast. Hey, I want to come out of your womb. Well, Glenn's got me talking about death metal. Now I want to talk about things. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, are you done?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to interrupt you probably 5 more times. Okay.
So, I was going to be a Liverpool fan whether I liked it or not, and I'm glad I am.
Yep.
So growing up, there was football, and there was football, and there was football. I was lucky to grow up, and one of my all-time favorite mentors in the game was one of the best managers ever to live was Bill Shankly.
Mm.
And I got to actually see him up close and personal, and I've been to Anfield when I was a kid, and I've been there and watched players like Kenny Dalglish, and best goalkeeper ever was Ray Clements, and Stevie Highway, and Kevin Keegan, and I was lucky enough before I moved over here to watch players like Ian Rush and John Barnes and Peter Beardsley. And
so, was there a specific neighborhood? What neighborhood was there a specific area in town that you grew up in?
Well, I grew up. I was born in Liverpool 8, which is Toxteth, which is the kind of the rough area of town,
right.
And then I moved out to a place called Allerton.
Okay.
And went to school out there, and that's where I spent most of my years growing up, was out there. But I was always every other Saturday is getting on the bus, going down to Anfield, standing on a cop, watching Liverpool play.
Right. So 2 questions now. It's so different than what goes on in the States here. Tell us about when you're growing up in the community aspect of soccer. With the shirt. And I'm not saying as an Everton fan, you could brag all day. I got nothing to say. I've just been crapping on us for years. So, but tell us, the first question is the community connection to those teams? I mean, you're obviously exposed to Everton as well. Yes. And what that's like, and what that experience is, and how intense it is.
Well, it's the rivalry that literally splits families right down the middle. Right. Because half the family will be Liverpool supporters, the other half will be Everton supporters, and it's just down to the rivalry between the two teams, and it's all down to bragging rights.
Right.
And especially when you have the derby, right. And Liverpool are playing Everton. Right. And you have 2, 3, 4 weeks of the build up to the game and then the actual game, and then Monday morning you go to work and you're ragging on the Everton supporters because they lost again. Yeah, and on the
I'm just
on occasion that Everton do win, you don't want to lift your head up and you
see. I just equate it to being if from the area that I grew up in. If you're a Mets fan, if you have the Yankees and the Mets, because the Yankees have been so superior all forever. Every now and then the Mets pop their heads up, but it's just if you're a Mets fan or any Yankees fan, you know. So that's how I equate my experience as an Everton fan.
But in Everton's defense, I grew up in a time when Everton were the top
team.
The league.
It's in the 80s. Right.
They were kicking everybody's butt. With Howard Kendall and
keeper.
With
who's the keeper's name in the 80s?
Neville Southall.
Neville. Right.
Yeah, and Graham Sharp and all those guys and Peter Reid. Because that was a great team. Right. And an England team that was based around the Everton team at the time. If it wasn't for Diego Maradona's hand of God, England may have gone to the World Cup with a core of Everton players in the England team. And that was the time to be an Everton supporter.
That must have been pretty thick. Must be pretty weird when you have teams that have that kind of a rivalry playing on the national team and then playing together. You think?
Yes. Oh yeah. It's got to be weird.
It's got to be a little odd.
Yeah.
I don't know. So you're growing up, or you're in that community. Obviously, the intensity, not so much. You mentioned the rivalry, and that's a good thing. But the connection at birth to soccer, and then equate that to what you're starting to see here.
Well, that's my goal here. I want everybody over here to experience what I had growing up. Right. Okay, a love for a soccer team, have the passion to get behind your local team, right. So that on Monday morning you can go to work, and even though you may hate the job that you're doing, you've got something positive to get you through the week. Yep. Because on Saturday your local team kicked the butt of whoever.
Right.
Okay, and also on the opposite side, it gives you something to distract yourselves when they lose. The humdrum, horrible job that some people have got, and you hear them complain now, I hate my job, but you got something positive to talk about, which is your football team.
Right.
And no, it doesn't matter if you win, lose, or draw. You've always got something to look forward to on a Saturday, because on Saturday I want to go watch Louisville City play. Mm-hmm. I've been thinking all week of this is a stupendous weekend, because tomorrow I leave work and I'm straight over to Molly's. And the first game of the season, Liverpool play Norwich tomorrow. Saturday, I wish I could watch the games all day, but we got to be busy on Saturday.
We'll give you a chance to talk about that.
Yeah, and then on Sunday, we'll watch Louisville City. Right. And I'll be down at the ground at probably noontime on Sunday, setting up the flags, setting up Scouse's house, and I want everybody to feel the passion that I had growing up, and I want people to realize what a fabulous sport that soccer really is. And I think I sent most of you guys last night. I watched this. This is a shout out to my lovely wife, Chris. Hey,
hi, Chris.
She found this thing on Amazon.com. The Amazon Prime.
Right.
And there's a documentary that they have done.
Oh, okay. Right.
This is football.
Right. I've heard about it. I haven't
seen it. And I watched episode 1, season 1 yesterday, and it just so happened that it was based around a bunch of Liverpool supporters from Rwanda.
Wow.
Okay. And these poor guys, they grew up during the Troubles back in the 90s, and these guys are witnessing their families being slaughtered.
Right.
and all of the terrible times they had to go through, but the one thing they had was football.
That's right.
And even after all of that horrible stuff that happened to them, at the end of the day, they settled the differences on the football pitch, right. You know, for the love of football, right. You know, and it kind of moved me last night to, you know, to get out there and post it out there, because, right. You know, now I'm waiting to see what episode 2's like. Right. You know, right. I know it's not going to be about Liverpool, but it's, you know,
it can't all be about Liverpool.
Can't be about
okay.
Liverpool.
Let's now, some of us have bask in the sun.
Yeah. It's not about Everton. I haven't seen Everton. Yeah.
I hear you. Now, tell me about.
You know why Everton fans have always got a pain in the neck?
Go ahead.
Because they're always looking up.
I know. I love Everton. We're 8th place. 8th place. What are you? 8th place. 8th place. Anyway, so I'm guessing that led you to put the section together at Scouse House. Tell us all about it.
Well, I had no intention of putting a section together in the house because all I wanted to do was go watch football. Right. And it was me, and there was Kevin Bassano, and remember James Lowe and his family, and remember Derrick Johnson.
Derrick, right?
Yep. And unfortunately, this is what the 5th anniversary of his death. Yeah. And he's greatly missed, and he was a lovely guy, even though he was a Man United supporter. But he was a lovely guy, and we were all standing there at the halfway line. And notice I said standing at the halfway line,
right, standing,
not sitting down, because it's one of those things that I never do. I never sit down at a football match. And James Lowe, he just piped up, "Oh, we're in the house of Scouse," and you know, it's when it kind of stuck. And then shortly after that match, the front office approached me and said, "How about getting all you guys and take it behind the other goal?" Right. And you know what my passion is your home team has got to be attacking friendly supporters through the entire game. Right. Because if you go to Manchester United, you got Manchester United fans on behind both of the goals. Right. You go to Anfield, they're behind both of the goals. Right. You know, you go to Everton, they're behind both of the goals. Right. And that was my passion, just to get people behind the goal, support the team, because I know a lot of people don't seem to think the power of the supporters. Hey, the power of supporters is well underestimated.
Absolutely.
You know, I've never been down on a pitch to listen to us all yelling and screaming, but listen to the players that we've got here at Louisville City, and how many times that they have told us, you know, what we bring to the team, and the pride that they have when they listen to us screaming and singing and making all that noise.
Right. And as a supporter group, you became an official supporter group last year, right? Is that beginning of last year? So now that it's an official supporter group, some of the things that you all are involved in as far as outreach, what you're looking to do. Let's start with that first. Is what are you looking to do above and beyond just going to games? I know that's the core thing, is obviously go to games, have a good time, scream, drink beer, whatever. But is there anything else that you're looking?
Just bringing people together.
Right.
Because, you know, I'm an immigrant myself. You know, I've lived here now 27 years.
You're not from the South End?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I couldn't tell.
I could never talk that slow.
At least, let me tell you something. You have more of an American accent than I do. You're closer than I am, because friggin' New Jersey, I can't help it. This it used to be way worse. Trust me. It used to be way worse. But so okay, so go ahead. I'm sorry.
So it's just about bringing people together. You know, one of the things that I experienced when I first moved over here was I didn't know what anything was. I had no one to turn to. Right. I had to figure this all out by myself. And I'm damned if I'm going to let somebody come to this community needing a little bit of help, and all it could be is just go downtown to 6th and Main, and that's where it's at.
Okay.
You know, I want to bring people together. I want to give them information that they need to make life just a little bit easier, you know, because the days that I was homesick and the days that I was wondering how Liverpool were doing. I had to wait on a newspaper that was a week old.
Right.
You know, it's not like it is now. But I want to reach out to the international community and say, hey, everybody loves soccer. Get down to the stadium. Come stand with Scouse's house.
Right.
A true international group, and stand with us and support the team.
Right.
You know, and, you know, there's a reason why I have, I think, 45 flags now sitting in
That's awesome.
in the bag in the back of my car, because each one of those flags represents somebody that's either playing on a team or has been in Scouse's house.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. And I guess you're seeing, without, I'm not going to put words in anybody's mouth, over the last couple of months, a real resurgence in everybody sort of rowing in the same direction.
Yeah.
From a supportive thing. It's got to be a good thing to see.
Yeah. And that's partly shame on me, because we got away from talking to each other. And I know the Coopers have gone, they've had a change of leadership and stuff. And that's shame on me for not reaching out before this to make it happen. But again, it's all about togetherness and pulling together. And if the supporters groups don't talk to each other, whether we're official supporter groups or not official supporter groups,
that's absolutely correct.
It doesn't really matter. Supporter is a supporter.
Right.
And if there's any supporters out there that feel like that they would benefit from coming to the meeting on Monday night, the next meeting is on Monday night over at Saints, 7 o'clock. If you have a voice, come and tell us, talk to us. You know, because if you don't talk to us, I can't help you.
Right. And one of the things that I'm always harping on, well, two things. Number one,
hey, Glenn, you're coming, right?
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Okay.
You know, and I've said this. I've said this every time I've been on this. I am a supporter of this team who happens to be a member of the Groove Machine. I am not a member of the Groove Machine that happens to support Louisville City, and that mindset I think has really taken hold pretty deeply this year, more than it has over previous. Not that it was bad. I don't think it was ever bad, but I think people that have the heart that like you have to step up and do the things are starting to rise to the top. And as a supporter just of the team in general, I appreciate you doing that, because it's not easy.
It's not easy. You know, a lot of people don't realize Scouse's house is not just me. Right. You know, there's so many really great people that are behind me to help me out. And, you know, there's Kenny Howard.
Kenny, who's here.
The button pusher. You know, because if I couldn't, I wouldn't know how to turn on a stupid computer. You know, all I turn it on and it goes. You know, and
we muddle through somehow. I have no idea. It's Matt.
Yeah.
We're screwed.
So, you know, it takes an army, you know, to organize everything that's going on. And if it wasn't for the guys in the Groove Machine and the Coopers and everybody that's out there, you know, I couldn't get it done by myself. Right. You know, and I'm sure you guys couldn't get it done by yourself. And the quicker we start working together, last year, we had that supporters meeting over at Saints,
right?
And we all got together, and that was the first and only time we ever did it. Right. But now we're getting back on track and getting together so that we can all talk and make the experience not just at this stadium right now. We've got a new stadium. Do you know we've got a new stadium opening next year? Do you know?
Really? Did we really? I had no idea.
Yeah, that's next year. Next year we're going to new. You know, if we don't start talking now,
Lynn Family Stadium. I just keep saying that to remind myself of it.
Yeah, thank you to the Lynn family.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
And like we say, in case you haven't noticed, Mr. Dr. Lynn's going to be here August 29th as one of our guests. Anyway, please go.
Yeah. So, you know, it's just, we got to work together.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So here we are. We got the meeting coming up on Monday.
Yeah.
Anything you want to tease about that meeting, or
no? Basically, you know, we're at the second meeting, you know, of us all getting together, and so we're kind of still feeling each other out and getting ideas and stuff. And you know, what all I expect from people when they come to the meeting is have an open mind,
right?
You know, and give us your opinions, and if you've got any ideas, hey, voice them. You know, because we don't have all the answers. And,
right.
You know.
Yeah, and that's true too. Is that the more it's the organization continues to improve as far as the communication is concerned, but we still, you could have 40 minds. We could use 50 or 60 or 70 because the more information that's being properly disseminated, not just a bunch of people going, "Hey, can we do this?" You know,
Yeah.
That's like one of the things we run into with the chants. Hey, I got a great chant. It goes like this. Okay, we're in the middle of a game. I don't think we can get that. We can work that in right now.
Yeah.
So and you know, you're like, you
Write
know,
that down.
can you write that down at least, and then maybe at the next whatever, you know. So you know, that part of it has been pretty cool to see. But what we always do is, you know, I feel like I'm not talking about something specific that I wanted to ask about. I feel like I should have wrote these down. We talked about Scouse. No, the stadium. Talk about the stadium and what you've seen so far. Have you been there? I mean, have you been inside?
I've been once.
Okay.
At the initial walkthrough a few months ago.
What was that like?
It was pretty amazing. You know, they were just still finishing up putting the roof up. They hadn't even put the roof on yet, but they were putting the framework for the roof up. Scouse's house wasn't even there yet,
right.
And you know, but I've got to go back out there and see what it's like now, because I drive past it every single day.
Right.
You know, sometimes 2-3 times a day, and it's never the same every time I drive past it. It's something's always gone on, and you're looking over there and it's like, oh man, that wasn't there earlier, you know. You know, and then the guys at work just shut up about the stadium. We've got a job to do. So, you know, we've got to talk about the stadium. It's right over there. You know, drive past it every day.
Okay. So now I'm going to ask you a little bit about the competition itself and the play that you see here in the United States, because you're a valuable asset as far as that's concerned. You lived it and you grew up in it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm concerned sometimes when people start talking about American soccer, and I have no problem hearing bad or good about it. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not one of those people. I am not a fan.
Well, American soccer's coming on an awful long way from what it was like when I first moved over here, because it was pretty much non-existent.
Right.
You know, I still remember the days that I think England beat the United States 10-0.
Right.
You know, I still remember that. And it's come on along an awful long way.
Mm-hmm.
But
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
But until we embrace promotion and relegation, the United States men's soccer team are going to continue to fail on the world stage.
And that's what I mean. Promotion relegation is a huge part of it, and it's not even just the pure aspect of that. I mean, that's very important, because we need investors and we need all of that stuff. One of the things that came up today in conversation, you know, Don Garber's talking about the league, MLS. Let me. Have you watched any of that?
No.
Okay. The league is set up for parity, and I hate when I talk about this, because I have never and I will never make fun of a supporter. I will never make fun of a player. Mm-hmm. It's not right. It's not right for me to sit there and judge people on who they like. I'll never do that. Mm-hmm. But to talk about the product itself is a fair thing to do.
If I'm paying to go see that product,
right?
Yeah, I'm going to voice it.
And as an American soccer fan, if it's impacting what I want to see the national team turn into, I'm going to talk about it. The league is set up for parity. That is not Garber's talked about that. That's not an insult. The league is set up for parity. This is such a loaded question. Is EPL set up for parity? Do they do everything they have to do to make sure that those 3 teams that are getting relegated don't get relegated by it?
Yeah, but you know,
it's such a dumb question, because it's so.
The way I look at it is, you're rewarded for being successful, and you are not rewarded if you come last.
Right.
There are consequences for coming last.
Right.
Okay. There are rewards for being in the top, and until we see that and get the competition going between the teams, that's what you're going to see is parity on the pitch. The guy in the midfield that is battling to score goals, I don't give a crap, because you know what? Whether we win or lose, it's still going to be here next year.
Right.
You know?
Right. Absolutely.
We're going to still be right here.
Exactly.
You know, there's got to be some kind of accountability, and right now there isn't, because most of the players in the MLS, and in the men's national team, I'm sorry, they play in the MLS.
Right. There's a good right.
You know, there's only a handful of the international players that actually play abroad in the better leagues, whether it's South America, whether it's Mexico, whether it's over in Europe. You know,
there's a good young crop of players that have been over the last year that are playing in England, and I mean, Pulisic is the obvious one.
And then, you know, when the men's national team were red hot, you know, you had players playing for Everton. You had them playing for Fulham. You had them playing.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you about. You follow Brian McBride played at Everton.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember when John Harkes played at Nottingham, but he was back going back about 20-something years ago.
Yeah.
And they brought
Liverpool had an American goalkeeper.
What's that?
Liverpool had an American goalkeeper.
That's right. Jeez Louise. And then, so obviously, when Brett Friedel played there, and then, Everton, obviously. But when those players have to play in that environment and fight, and then they came over here, I think it was 86 or 90, 92-ish, and then we started to move on. 2002 was my favorite American team because we had a bunch of guys that had played over in Europe and had to fight for their position. And then on top of that, we had our younger players, a very young Landon Donovan, who had success at Everton. The 2 times he went over to Everton, he played well.
That's when McBride scared the hell out of Portugal.
Yeah,
it was so great.
Yeah, and the thing is that there was hunger. Every player either having experienced the European thing, and even
they played at the top level against the best players, and over in the MLS, they're playing against the EPL guys that they're not the best anymore.
Not the best.
They don't play for Manchester United because they're not the best anymore.
Right.
And
then they can't. The level of competition is at a certain level, and then they have to market the national team because of this insane system that we have here, with some and making sure that there's some sort of connection monetarily with some and the federation and MLS. So half of these guys, we're starting MLS players in a league that's set up for parity, and then all the guys in the Outlaws, and I'm not knocking the Outlaws, don't even. But I'm saying they go to these games and they're like, what's going on? How come we're not winning? Well, we're playing mediocre players.
Yeah.
And then you got kids like McKenna, and you got kids like Boyd who are now playing overseas, who I'm afraid are going to get stepped over because they're not playing here, and we got to have our allotment of MLS players. Yeah. Does that happen? Do they care about what teams play, where the team players play over in England, Mike? I mean, they don't. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
But I mean, it drives me nuts, and it's impossible for me to even to fathom how we think we're going to move forward.
Yeah. And the only way what we can do to move forward is promotion and relegation.
Right.
And if Mr. Edwards is out there listening to this, hopefully we'll see that in the USL, promotion and relegation. We've got all those leagues now in our own league system. Let's get promotion and relegation. Promote the ones that are successful, and let's demote those who are not successful.
Shouldn't be there anymore.
I
mean, 4 years running. This year we're not done yet. 4 years running in the European in England, we would have had at least a chance of being promoted 4 years in a row, based on where we finished during the season.
Yeah.
Okay, based on points, and but they, Cincinnati and goes up.
I've got a problem when teams just buy the way in.
Yeah.
It's not right.
Right, and why would we wouldn't adopt the culture that made the game what it is worldwide? And just
I think isn't this the only country that does?
Yeah, this is the only country that does good things. Whatever.
Yeah.
But it's. But now at the same time, like you're saying, now you come to a Louisville City game. I want to ask you about the quality of what you see at Louisville City, and I think the hunger that O'Connor brought over here, that's where that comes from. The fact that he made these kids fight as hard as they did, and played his way through the chaff that was there the first year. We all know that some of those guys did not want to deal.
He's been over there. He's done it. He's played for Stoke City. Right. He's played for Sheffield Wednesday.
Right.
Now in the Cape, he knows what it's like over there. He knows how competitive it is over there, and you can see that when Niall takes the pitch.
Right.
You can see the passion in his eyes. You can see his drive to get Louisville City forward. Right. Because I know we have supporters that go online and they vote for the man of the match.
Right.
But from Scouse's house, we have a unique view of the game, and there's quite a few of the games. Now McKay was our man of the match because he was all over the pitch. He was box to box man. He's defending, he's attacking. He's all over the place, and it's not just this season; it's every season. Right. That's the kind of player that I like. And one thing that this season that has really surprised me is Mr. Hubbard in goal.
Right. Oh, he's been godsend.
Outstanding.
What's his nickname?
Diesel.
I love that.
Diesel. Hey, Diesel.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. First time you said that, it was great. All right, man, we've been here a half hour already. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah. So go on a bit more.
Yeah, if you would like to, I want you to do, let everybody have an open mic and speak about anything they want to related to Louisville City. Go ahead, go.
Okay. Well, if you want to come out and chat with me on Saturday, I'll be out there.
Yes, tell us about that. It's a fundraising thing, right? Is that not fun?
It's not a fundraiser. We actually are raising funds for the kids out there at St. Joe's Children's.
Something about serving beer to kids.
Serving beer to kids, because
that could really impact funds.
And the reason why that's close to my heart is because I remember when I first came over here, and my wife's grandmother, she lived down there on Frankfurt Avenue, and we'd have to drive past that place on Christmas Day. And I'm thinking, are you serious? Those kids have got absolutely
nothing.
Nobody
It's a shame.
to go and have Christmas with. And my good friend Finbar, he's the head chef out there. So I know the kids get fed well because Finbar's cooking. Finbar's great. So Finbar reached out to me and said, how about coming out and helping us out? And the minute he said, how about getting beer out? Yeah, I'm there. Done. Yeah. B-E.
I can be talked into that.
Beer.
You don't have to put my arm behind my back. I can be talked into giving people beer.
So for the first time this year, I reached out to the supporters group, and I've asked for anybody in the supporters group who has got time to come out, because charity is not always about giving money.
Right.
The most valuable commodity that you have is time. And if you can spend some time out there to benefit these kids at St. Joe's, come out and pour beer, come chat with me.
Right.
And I'd love to see you out there. Even if you're not out there serving beer, come and drink some beer.
I'm already on board, man.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Let me ask you a question now. Think about it. Is there other things going on around? Is it a fair? Is it a...
Yeah, it's a St. Joe's annual picnic out there. And like I said, this one is just close to my heart because it just breaks my heart to think that these kids have got nobody in their corner. And at least I can go out there and spend a few hours of my time every year to help them out.
Do they have music there?
Absolutely. And we're going to bring our own music too. You know that, right?
You are. You're going to bring your own music.
I'm going to bring a nice big speaker and we're going to be jamming away.
Good. Okay. We should talk.
Yeah.
Maybe I can help you with that.
Yeah. Maybe you could.
Maybe I could help you with that. We could talk about.
I'm definitely going to be there.
Yeah. And by the way, you know the first concert I ever went to.
Oh my gosh! I can't wait to hear. Don't say the Beatles.
No, it's not the Beatles. I'm not that old.
I know you.
Liar. I did go to the same school as Paul McCartney. You know that, right?
No, I had no idea.
Yeah, not the same time.
Not the same time. I was going to say he's older than you.
Yeah, he's in a wheelchair.
He's older than everybody.
Yeah, but it's the first concert I ever went to. I saw Queen live at Wembley.
Come on, that was your first concert?
Very first concert.
Madon.
That's going to be
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah,
because to be your first live concert, to be exposed to Freddie Mercury.
Yeah,
that's like my first shooting. My first shooting experience was with an atomic bomb. The first time I mean that's because that must be crazy.
Yeah,
God.
And all it was a train ticket down to Wembley, and then you go down there and you see the concert, and then it's
that must have been insane.
Yeah,
I mean there had to be 80,000, 90,000 people there, right?
Probably close to 100,000.
That's
the place was packed.
Nobody worked an audience like that guy. No one.
So if I'm down, I kind of start playing some Queen.
Okay, so maybe like I'm saying, I have a bit of a PA system.
Okay.
I even know a musician that might be able to play a couple tunes for you.
You are a PA system.
I am. I can't help it.
Yeah. I'm thinking about getting a groove machine out there with some drums, and we'll do. Well,
I know there's a couple of us. There's a couple of us definitely coming to serve beer.
Yeah, that's good.
So I mean, we have to talk.
But, if you want to come out and help us serve beer, please feel free. I'll be there from 11 a.m. in the morning till 10 p.m. at night. It's going to be
serving beer from 11 to 10. You'll be there in body by about 6. By about 6, you'll still be there.
So
hey, Mike. Hey.
If you've got time to come help us out, come out and help us out.
You're gonna have to get an Uber home from a children's picnic.
Hey, remember that time we all got really wasted at the kids' picnic?
and remember, 6 p.m. is the 2 a.m. of day drinking.
And just remember, it is a Catholic picnic.
Yes, that's
true.
Anything goes.
So drink more. Yeah, anything goes. So okay, so you have the fundraiser, or not fundraiser, but obviously the an outreach deal. And Anything in the future? Is there anything that you know from Scouse's House perspective that you can touch on and say, man, we'll definitely do this in the future and there's some good stuff going on?
Yeah, we always got some good stuff going on because you know that Scouse's House is always evolving, and we've already done it for the Louisville City Rescue, which is a animal rescue facility, and we've sent them quite a bit of money and some. We had a drive there the other week for people to bring dog food and sundries out so that we can get it to them. Right. And actually, one of the main things that are coming up with, I hate to say it, it's in the middle of August and it's blazing hot outside, but winter's coming.
Yep. And
Scouse's House very shortly is going to start collecting coats for kids.
Awesome.
So I'm going to encourage people to go hit their closet. And those coats that are sitting in the corner of the closet that no one wears anymore because they're too small, or they've gone out of fashion, is get them out and get them to Scouse's House, because you know there's no reason why any child should be going to school cold because they can't afford a coat.
Awesome.
And we're going to try and help out doing that in the very near future.
Well, do you have anything else?
I've got some stuff I want to say to you, Scouse.
Oh, baby.
Well, should I move?
So there's.
You should, yes.
I'm not going to make you play Where's Waldo in my apartment, okay?
Okay.
But there's something right over my right-hand shoulder.
Yeah, you mean the Bushmills?
Do you have any idea why that's up there?
Because you're an alcoholic.
So to frame this for everybody, right here to my right, there's a very large picture of some Bushmills barrels. Okay,
that was the first thing I saw when I walked in your apartment.
So the first time that I met you,
you
were sharing a very large flask of Bushmills with me at the St. Patty's Day parade.
Nice.
So you're the reason that's on my wall.
Oh, brilliant.
I just wanted to point that out because that's the story that I always tell everybody. That's how I know about Bushmills, is because you were serving it up to me before I.
Was it good?
Oh, it was delicious.
Of course.
And it's like I'm out of it right now because that's the one that I.
Yeah, because I tend to drink. I'm drinking Jameson.
Yeah, I know, right? The Jameson was given to me with almost everything that's over there. So yeah, so it's a good problem to have. People just randomly bring bourbon over here.
Yeah.
But you are a people person, and it has amazed me to watch your just the way that you communicate with people and the way that you have grown that section over there. Yeah. It's just through like, hey, my name's Mike. How are you? I do this thing for Louisville City. You should come out. I mean, it's amazing, and I've watched you do it, and it's like it's almost inspiring to watch.
And that's all it's about is getting out there and talking to people. Mm-hmm. I don't care who I talk to. You can tell me to go shut off, but you're not going to have my feelings done, But a lot of the time,
I've never been told to shut off. I don't even know. I don't know how. If somebody said that to me, go shut off. If I have to,
and I'm kind of so when you went in front of what do they call it? I guess the board or the when we were talking about all the funding for the stadium and everything. When you gave that, like, it's kind of a rousing speech that you gave. I'm kind of surprised that you didn't develop some kind of a cult following after that, because people celebrated that and they were like, "My God, this guy loves soccer!" Like,
and that's what it's about. It's about passion.
Absolutely.
And if I want you to come out and I want you to feel the passion that a soccer game will give you.
Right.
Did you know soccer is the only sport in the world that's actually stopped the war? Did you know that?
It stopped. Yeah, that was World War I.
World War I.
I remember. I've read about that.
The infamous Christmas Day. Christmas Day, where the British soldiers and the German soldiers played a game of football in the middle of no man's land. And it's not just that. And I'm aware of it came out in the Middle East where the Palestinians stopped shooting at the Jewish people, just so that they can watch a football game. Right. And if you watch the show that I saw last night, it's very moving, and that's the power of football.
Right.
To stop people killing each other, just to watch a football game.
Right.
So get out to Scouse's house, whether it's doesn't matter what game it is. go out and join the Coopers,
right.
coming out and see a live soccer game right in front of you. It's all very well watching the EPL on the TV. It's on the TV.
Right. Exactly.
It's on the TV.
That's absolutely correct.
You can experience it. One of the things that really pisses me off are the kind of people who have got to have the iPhone out, or they've got to have the smartphone out, and they've got to capture every moment. Experience it through your own eyes, not through a lens. Experience it through your own eyes.
So true.
I didn't have a camera to see Liverpool win the title.
Right.
I was there on the cup. I experienced it. I never had a camera watching Queen live at Wembley Stadium.
Right.
That's emblazoned in my memory.
Absolutely.
And it's all mine.
Right, exactly.
I don't have to share it with anybody. It's all mine. I was there.
All of us sprinting over to Scouse's house during that New York game.
My very, very all-time favorite goal of all time was when, in 1977, Liverpool are playing Tottenham Hotspur at Anfield. The 7th goal, where Kenny Dalglish picked it up on the edge of the Liverpool box, and he hammered it out wide to the left wing, where Stevie Highway, first kick up, first time ball, right over into the box where Terry McDermott nodded it in. I was there.
Wow.
And you get to see, right.
And thanks to BBC, I can relive it. But if you go onto YouTube, you can see it. Terry McDermott's goal versus Tottenham Hotspur. And if you see that goal, and I was there, right. I saw it firsthand, right in front of me. Didn't have a camera. So please, people, I know it's great taking a photograph every once in a while and videotaping Joe as he's singing, the national anthem, but experience it for yourselves. Have it blazoned in your memory.
I was at Pelé's retirement game against Santos, and when he got on the microphone and started screaming love, because that was a very tumultuous time. It was a very difficult time back in the late 70s. And the power in Giant Stadium with 70,000 people, him doing that was unbelievable. I'm getting chills thinking about it right now. So, definitely, just to hear you share that, it means a lot. It means a lot. And it probably explains a lot as to why you're doing what you're doing to help.
Yeah. And, the other thing is I've always been brought up, the guy that you walk past the street, your smiling face can be the only smiling face he sees all day long.
Amen.
So always be nice to people, smile, and speak to somebody. Because you don't know what they're going through.
That's right.
And just say good morning, how are you? It can make somebody's day.
Absolutely correct. Well, it has been quite the experience. I personally want to thank you for putting the section together. Okay. Personally want to thank you for being the decent person that you are. You've really become a friend. And
thank you very much.
I hope that I'm looking forward to many more years.
One more before we go to Derek Johnson.
Oh,
miss you, man.
All right, buddy.
Miss you, man.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Scouse, Michael Bromilow.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
We'll have you on again. And I'm going to try.
Really?
I'm going to try. Yeah, I'm going to try.
You're not going to change the locks?
I'm going to try and think of 10 seconds of my life where Everton did a little better than lose.
Are we going to?
Look at that. There it is. How beautiful is that mug?
Look at that. The Giants are up.
The Giants are up. The Giants are winning. Thank you.
We'll get back a blizzard, though.
All right. Thank you, pal. We're gonna finish up.
All right. I'm gonna give Matt a hard time.
Okay.
Are we gonna do?
Because he's the only one with the
we're gonna do rim shots. Okay.
the bright green headphones.
Oh yeah.
So-
Dazzling my ass.
Matt, have you, Matt? I'm going to ask. Obviously, you did the mascot thing when you were a kid.
Yes, it did.
And the experience of becoming part of the Louisville thing, and the passion that Mike is sharing right now.
Speaking of mascots, is Hayden going to wear that thing to the game? That looks awesome.
I don't know. I'm trying to get him to do it, but I'm not sure if anyone knows about Hayden.
Your son.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but Hayden's autistic.
Right.
Okay. He has a problem communicating, and he's taken it upon himself to make this mascot. He's taught himself.
I've seen that picture.
He's taught himself how to sew.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. He went and he's got a new job now. He works for Kroger.
All right.
Okay, so if you want to go see Hayden, he's at the Kroger out there on Mud Lane, and he'll be the guy standing at the front, bagging and getting your carts in and taking your groceries out to the car. But he took it upon himself to make this mascot, and it's purple and white, and I'm not sure if it's a fox or it's a wolf or whatever it is, but
a wolf fox.
He's blown me away. Because the detail he's put into it and the time he spent on it, and this is all off his own bat. You know, we didn't tell him to go, hey, go make this mascot. And I know somebody wrote out there that, oh God, no mascots. It's not the point about having a mascot.
Yeah, that's not the point. Yeah,
it's not the point.
Missing.
You know,
some people just get triggered.
Yeah. He did something awesome. If I tried that, it would look like a purple potato with my hands on it.
Okay, so what we do at the end of the show is we have a little segment called Rim Shots. And Rim Shots is where we all get to riff on something or multiple things pertaining to soccer in general at first. It'd be Louisville City or something in the game. Or just say happy birthday or something. You want to go first?
Yeah, I can go first.
Okay.
Lincoln Davis.
Hey, where's Lincoln?
Lincoln Davis. Yes. Front and center, boy.
Here he comes.
Come here.
Watch your step, kid.
Watch where you're going. Hello, sir.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Do you have something that you would like to say about soccer in Louisville? How do you feel about soccer in Louisville?
Good.
Here, come on. Can you squeeze here? Can you squeeze over here? Tell us about how you feel about soccer in Louisville.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your favorite team? Who's your favorite team?
So, LouCity.
There you go.
That boy.
Yep.
Give him a beer. No.
That's Saturday.
What's the most amount of goals that you scored in a game?
4.
4 goals.
Wow. High five.
Wow. Gonna have to start calling you Wayne Rooney.
Wow.
That's a double brace or a hat trick +1.
Or a metric.
Or a metric. Or a metric.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude. I just wanted to have you on. You know, that's probably the only time that you're going to be in the show. I wanted everybody to get to see your beautiful little face.
Until you grow up and you become a member of the team.
Yeah. Yep. Sooner or later, you're going to be a big time member of the Groove Machine, right?
All right. Good job, kid.
All right.
Lincoln. So there you go.
I'll come get you in a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Watch where you're going. Love you.
Thank you.
Awesome. That was my rim shot for
There you
day.
go. That's the best rim shot ever. That's about literally the best rim shot ever. Matthew,
What?
do you have any rim shots?
Nothing soccer related. Got a video game related one.
Do it.
Oh, what?
If anybody ever played the Castlevania games, particularly Symphony of the Night, there was a Kickstarter game called recently that's basically done in that same vein called Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, something like that. Basically a knockoff name of Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Was that
game
English?
is so
Is that English?
good.
Yes, I think so. He did put a verb in there somewhere.
Yeah. Shut up. Just because I don't use 30 extra U's, I don't want to hear about it. No, seriously, it's really fun. I've been playing it the last week, so yeah. It's what's been distracting me from everything else.
That's good, man.
Yeah, like all the hacking and coughing.
That's what I was going to say. I hope you feel better.
And stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do, thank you. I slept like 15 hours last night to today. So.
Oh.
Well, that means you're getting over it, maybe.
Yeah.
That your body's just, because after you get sick,
you know what the cure is, right?
Cowbell?
I think it's a band. They like had some stuff.
Right over there, Jameson.
All those bottles of
bells
booze.
of that. I'll cure anything.
I've been treating myself. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I've been thoroughly treating this disease.
So there was 2 of them that I wanted to touch on. Number one, we're going to have a meeting Monday.
Correct.
And I'm definitely going to be pushing a new long-term fundraiser. We'll talk about it on the show next week. You'll be here. And I know I'm going to be on Barrel Proof, and I'm hoping Evan gives me a few minutes on the other one too, to talk about this new. It's a long-term initiative. It's going to lock everybody together, not just the supporters, but also hopefully the team as well. People that are not part of it.
Did you know something? You know that.
No.
You know all of the supporters groups.
Yeah.
We're a team.
Absolutely.
The team is not just on the pitch.
Absolutely.
We are a team too, and it's about time that we started acting like a team.
Yeah.
And getting together and making life a little bit better for all the supporters around the
Absolutely.
stadium.
Right.
Don't let anybody divide us.
No.
Ever.
And I'm a firm believer of you never walk alone.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the Liverpool. What would you call it? The Liverpool anthem?
Yeah.
Would that be fair? Anthem?
We still need one of those.
Yeah, we'll work on that. And then I guess what we kind of do, though, my old Kentucky home, I think, kind of is. I would love to see them come over and sing it to the players. All of us find a way to get together after a game.
I think that what the team should do is get the supporters groups on the pitch, over there on the sideline, and they'll sing it.
All sing it would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, it's U.S. soccer related, and maybe I should have done this first, but I'm going to do it anyway. There was some conversation recently about the league and MLS, how they're dealing with this franchise thing. And Taylor Twellman got on Twitter today talking about how they need to let the reins go. And it just goes back to what we were talking about before. At some point, America is going to be allowed to be America and do what America does when it comes to sports. And hopefully that happens, because if that happens, that's the ticket for Louisville City to become what we should be. And with the new field, and we're going to be the premier place to play in the United States if you're not an MLS player. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this thing turns into, but I'm not giving up on this year yet. Do not give up on this season. There's too much talent. That's the point of this. There is too much talent, and we can beat any team anywhere with the talent. So please don't give up on this thing yet. It's great that the stadium's coming, but man, we still got a shot at coming back and doing something good in this.
But you've heard me say many a time, and earlier today on this very podcast, I said that one of my greatest mentors was Bill Shankly.
Okay, right.
And one of the things that he has basically branded into my brain, if you cannot support your team when they're losing and tying,
right,
then don't support us when we're winning.
Right.
Okay? Stand by your team.
And we talked about that last week.
Yeah, it's not always about winning. Sometimes we're going to lose.
Right.
Sometimes we're going to go through our dark times.
Right.
And, we're going to lose a few games. We're going to tie a few games. But you know what? Stand up like an adult. And get behind your team.
The level of bonding that you do when you win is easy. The level of bonding that you go through when you lose is everlasting. Winning's easy. Clapping, when people are but the bonding that you do when you struggle, that's the bonds that matter. That's the ones that
one of the things that I just cannot abide. I cannot abide a Johnny come lately that only supports the team when they're winning.
Right.
Okay. I'm not in soccer for that.
Right.
I'm in it for the team, whether they win, lose, or draw.
And it's about the community first.
Yeah.
So
and it's okay if you want to complain or about this and that.
You're supposed to
just get your ass in that stadium and make noise.
Absolutely.
And then one of the things that not to take this off of you, but one of the things that I always run into when I'm talking to people, okay. Oh, I don't understand the game. I've got no time, and it's boring. And it's boring because you don't understand it.
Right.
Okay. Right. What kicks off tomorrow? What is it that kicks off tomorrow?
Right.
There's something important that kicks off tomorrow. The EPL season kicks off tomorrow. Most of the European leagues, they kick off this season and this weekend. Right. Okay. If you don't understand, you can always find me at Molly's.
Right.
Okay. You can always find me in Scouse's house. If you don't understand, okay, I will spend the time, and a lot of guys in Scouse.
And a lot of guys there too.
Will spend the time.
James is great to talk about with soccer.
When
you catch him in the first half. After he gets a couple in him, it's a little different. Yeah. I love James. He's a great guy.
He's a great guy. It's just not that hard. I mean, if you can understand American football.
And it's not about scoring a goal every 2 seconds. It's about the strategy. It's about the build-up of the play. It's about the skill on the ball. If you don't understand it, I'm there for you. Right. Just come on out and say, hey, during the Liverpool match,
right,
I don't understand. Okay, well, sit next to me and we'll go through the game step by step.
Cool. Folks, I hope you had a good time tonight. Next week, we will have John Neese. This is not John Neese.
John Neese.
That's not John Neese. I don't know who
this is. Not John Neese. Next week.
John Neese will be here, Jorge Pazmilo and James Pizzolatto. And then August 29th, we already have Dr. Lynn will be here, Mark Lynn. will be one of our guests, which will be wonderful to get to meet him and hear about them. Guys, have anything else? I don't want to interrupt.
Thank you, guys.
Hope you had a good time.
Appreciate it.
Vamos Morados.
Thank you.
Vamos Morados. Folks, thank you so much for joining us.
Let's go, City.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Let's go,
Bye-bye.
City.
Good night, everybody.